ShieldFoundationRepair.ca. Shield Foundation Repair.
Jake Adam here. When it comes to my truck, I trust Heartland Ford in Fort Saskatchewan. It's not just where I got it, but it's where I take it for all my service. I recommend Heartland Ford to my family and friends because they treat you like family and friends. Whether you're buying a new vehicle or getting routine maintenance, you should go to Heartland Ford too. With great prices and service you can absolutely count on, why go anywhere else? Head to Heartland Ford in Fort Saskatchewan today. Small town feel, big city pricing.
Selling your home? Sentinel Storage has a location near you with secure and affordable storage solutions so you can upsize, downsize, or whatever you need size. Make it easy on yourself. Buy Canadian, store Canadian. Try 4 weeks free at sentinelstorage.ca.
Oilers hockey is brought to you by the Butcher Shop at Friesen Brothers. This is the City Ford Face-Off Show on the voice of your Edmonton Oilers. 880 CHED.
Brent Griffiths coming to you live from Ford Hall as we get ready for this matchup between the Florida Panthers and the Edmonton Oilers. Hey, let's get to our first Oilers Goal of the Game contest, which is brought to you by the Great Outdoors Comedy Festival, which is coming up this summer at Kinsman Park, the 18th of July, right through to the 20th. You can check out their lineup at greatoutdoorscomedyfestival.com. Hey, text us right now at 780-451-8800. And just for guessing, if we select your name, you've won a pair of tickets to see the Trailer Park Boys at the Great Outdoors Comedy Festival. This show is on Saturday, the 19th of July. There'll be a lot of laughs. You know that. And like I said, take a look at their lineup, too. It's fantastic. Now, if you get through and we select your name and you guess correctly as to who will score that first Oilers goal, will qualify to have your seats upgraded to the VIP section. So once again, 780-451-8800. Joining us is Rob Brown, our NHL insider. Brownie, how you doing tonight?
Oh, I'm doing very good, Brent. How are you?
Fine, thank you. It's I feel there's I'm trying to sum it up beautifully from down here in Fort Hall, and it's tough. The crowd is enthusiastic, but you could just feel that there's a higher level of tension here tonight than there was the last game, and for good reason, right?
Well, there's a nervousness. This is the first time the Oilers have faced elimination. I think there was a huge optimism. 3-4 days ago, Oilers coming home, Game 5 on home ice, can set themselves up for a Stanley Cup, and things didn't go their way. Now there's that fear that so close again. So yeah, it's we will see about 3.5 hours from now what the mood in the city is like. But yeah, I think there's an apprehension right now that maybe something slipped by a few nights ago on home ice.
Everybody's got a different take on the first period. I figure if they get through the first period and it's 0-0, I'd take it if I was the Oilers. But what do you figure is going to happen here in the opening 20?
Well, I think you're going to see the best from both teams. The Oilers, desperate. They certainly know they need to be better in the first period, and as the game moves on as well, because they know a loss and the season is over. The Florida Panthers, they don't want to go to Game 7 in Edmonton. They want it done here on home ice, so they're going to have a desperation as well. You will see two teams that will be playing aggressive, that will be throwing caution to the wind, but also two teams that will need saves. And I think that's the biggest thing that we will look forward to in the first 10 minutes, 12 minutes of this game. Which team is getting the saves in this hockey game? Because we know both goaltenders, when they start well, they seem to get better as the game moves on.
Hey, speaking of Stuart Skinner, he had a comment that I thought was kind of interesting, and that is bouncing back from game number 4. But he had a thought or two on that, and we'll let Stu break that one down for us.
Might sound weird. I felt like I played well, but sometimes that happens. It's just life, especially as a goalie. It can be hard sometimes. But I mean, the process after that is try to shake it off as quickly as I am able to. I wasn't able to for a little bit. I was a little bit frustrated, but it kind of took me a day, and it's just back to work. And there's not much time in this league, especially in the finals, to soak on it and feel bad for yourself. So you just got to go back on the ice the next day and start working on your game again.
Hardly a surprise that that's how Stuart Skinner would look at it, because he's about as level-headed and as calm as any netminder. John Shannon's joining us, our NHL insider as well. John, your thoughts on this one tonight? What do you figure? This is it's a tense crowd here, but they're very enthusiastic.
Well, Well, we've been through this before, and we shouldn't be surprised. These two teams are that close. We like the resilience of the Edmonton Oilers. We saw it all through the season. We saw it in the Stanley Cup final last year.
Yep.
Their proverbial backs against the wall at 3-0, 3-1, 3-2. There's enough experience to know what they have to do. And quite frankly, tonight's a night where the superstars have to be the superstars. Leon has to be great. Connor has to be great. Bouchard has to be great. Ekholm has to play better. This is a night where you can measure the success of the hockey club based not on the bottom six that we've talked about a lot, but the top six guys, particularly 97 and 29.
Hey, Rob, I want to ask you this one. There's a million things that we, could talk about what the Oilers have to do, but somewhere on that list, somebody's got to keep that third line of Florida's under control because they're really killing them here.
Well, I don't think Florida has a third line. I think Florida has three number one lines. I think that is the biggest difference. There's no drop off. You got on the supposed first line, you have two guys that were up for the Selke and one won it. On your second line, you got Bennett, who leads the National Hockey League in playoff goals, and Tkachuk, who is a 100-point guy in this league with 40 goals. And then your third line has been the best line in hockey in the playoffs. So they don't have a third line. They have three number ones, and that's why it's so hard playing against them to get matchups. The Oilers' depth players were really good in the first three rounds, but they ran into a team that's got better depth up front. And I agree with John with the fact that the one advantage that the Oilers have over the Florida Panthers, because the Floaters have better depth up front. I think the Florida Panthers' defense is probably stronger as a whole if you look at all six compared to the six the Oilers have. And the Florida Panthers are certainly stronger in net with Bobrovsky. But what Florida doesn't have is Connor and Leon, the two great equalizers. And I believe if the Oilers are going to come back and win this Stanley Cup, and I've said all along, I feel the Oilers will win in 7. If they are to do that, it has to be on the back of Connor and it has to be on the back of Leon. They need greatness in these next two games, perfectly capable of bringing it, but they need that. If this Oiler team is to win a Stanley Cup, it will be because Connor and Leon played like Connor and Leon are capable of playing in Game 6 and in Game 7.
John, your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, Rob's bang on about the two guys. I mean, that's the expectation. That's why the old cliche. That's why they make the big bucks.
Yeah.
At the same time, really, Florida is a three-line team. They're not a four-line team. They're a three-line team, and then they insert that those three Tasmanian devils on the fourth line with Greer, Nosek, and Gadjevich when Paul Maurice sees fit to upset the apple cart. They're 8 to 9 minute guys because they have no qualms about splitting the ice time for those other three lines evenly. I mean, you're not going to see a Florida forward at 23 minutes. You're not. And so they're fresher. That's the one advantage I think the three lines have right now for the Panthers. But at the same time, there are things that the Edmonton Oilers can do, and there has to be expectation on a few other people to contribute. I mean, Corey Perry, I don't think that Corey Perry can do anything more than he's done. He's done yeoman's service for this hockey club, and it is great to see for a guy 40 years old contributing as much as he has. But you know what? Evander Kane needs to deliver more. Trent Frederick needs to deliver more. Connor Brown needs to deliver more. And it's not for lack of trying. I'm not suggesting that for anything. But they have to be more effective. And that becomes the real challenge when you're facing those three lines that really are so balanced and so good on the night.
Guys, we're going to take a break. We'll come back. We'll break for a news update with Eileen Bell and then back with the guys. And there's some other things going on around the NHL, too, that I'd like to get to. So we'll do that when we return. We're coming to you live from Ford Hall this afternoon. Spring Griffiths with you, and this is the City Ford Face-Off Show on 880 CHED.
Hey,
Hi, Edmonton. It's summertime in Alberta, which means it's time for patios, lake days, and long nights. No matter where you are in the province, Play Alberta is here to elevate your summer fun with casino, sports, and lottery experiences, all conveniently at your fingertips. Download the Play Alberta app and deposit $20 or more with the promo code OIL to claim a $50 casino bonus. That's promo code OIL for a $50 casino bonus on us. Redeemable once per Play Alberta account. Remember, if you gamble, please use your game sense.
For 30 years, White Eagle Homes have been building award-winning quality homes you can count on. Now, come experience their new show home in West Point of Windermere, complete with a luxury spa, beautifully designed entertainment spaces, an elevator, and incredible views of the ravine from the third-story rooftop patio. Take in the almost 6,500 square feet over 4 levels of your potential new home today. Visit whiteeaglehomes.ca or call 780-497-8998 to book your appointment today.
At Leading Edge Physiotherapy, we believe that life shouldn't hurt. Now, that doesn't mean that we don't know that sometimes it really hurts. I mean, we've seen people at their worst moments in life, when they feel they have nowhere to turn, or at a time when they felt like their problem just wouldn't ever go away. We've also seen people who thought to themselves, it'll just go away on its own, or this is no big deal. I don't want to bother anyone about this. Don't know where to turn to, or think it's no big deal? Either way, we have the technology, techniques, and skills to help you get back to it, whatever your it may be. Life shouldn't hurt. LeadingEdgePhysio.com.
Get ready for a great barbecue season with Friesen Brothers. We believe that really great food matters, and we have everything you need for your perfect barbecue. From the best fresh Alberta meat cut by our in-store master butchers to traditionally baked sourdough, a great range of Alberta-grown vegetables, and all the tasty sides to complement your every meal. Get all fired up for this year's barbecue season at your local Friesen Brothers.
Japanese Village Edmonton Restaurants, home to championship flavor, would like to celebrate Edmonton's success so far this year. Thank you for bringing the excitement, and everyone on the Japanese Village team are proudly cheering you on as you attempt to bring hockey's biggest prize home to Edmonton.
We want to see you have a good time. Japanese Village.
This is Global News. It's 5:30. I'm Eileen Bell. Edmonton City Councillors have taken the first steps to cut back the number of units allowed in some new housing builds. It's a response to complaints over large new developments in mature neighborhoods. Instead of 8 suites, some new builds may only be allowed to have 6. The G7 summit's wrapped up. Leaders have issued a series of joint statements, but could not reach an agreement on the ongoing war in Ukraine. A senior Canadian government officer says the U.S. was looking for weaker language on Ukraine than what the other G7 members had proposed. U.S. President Donald Trump's expected to sign an executive order this week to extend a deadline for TikTok's Chinese owner to sell the popular video sharing app. The extension will last for 90 days. Checking traffic now from Global One, here's Jackson McNulty.
Thank you. And on the white mud, the eastbound lanes remain closed after a collision, with the eastbound traffic being detoured onto 122nd Street. Heavy delay still as we're backed up across the Quidel Bridge. On the South Anthony Henday, we had an eastbound collision by the Calgary Trail overpass. That's all wrapped up and cleared, but still pretty busy down here as we start to recover from that issue. Watch out for collision on 113th Street northbound, sitting in the left-hand turning lane before Belgravie Road. We have a northbound collision on 127th Street at 140th Avenue, as well 82nd Street at 153rd Avenue, and a collision on the North Anthony Henday, eastbound just after 82nd Street. Save on Foods knows a little extra savings means a lot. This week at Strawberries, #1 USA, 2 pounds, just $5.99 each at Save on Foods. From Global One, I'm Jackson McNulty.
880 Chad weather. We've got a severe thunderstorm watch in effect for the Edmonton area. Clear, turning to 30% chance of showers this evening, turning to 70% chance overnight. And again, chance of a thunderstorm this afternoon or this evening. Tonight's low 12, 70% chance of showers tomorrow. Again, maybe a thunderstorm. The high 22. In Edmonton, it's 24. I'm Eileen Bell. Next news during first intermission on 880 Chad.
Keep your team jersey and rally towel close by and help bring the championship home. For all your other treasures, store them with Sentinel Storage. Store Canadian. Try 4 weeks free at sentinelstorage.ca. Proud partner of the Edmonton Oilers.
Oilers hockey is brought to you by the Butcher Shop at Friesen Brothers. This is the City Ford Face-Off Show on the voice of your Edmonton Oilers. 880 CHED.
You just know the players have some confidence, and you see the body language or whatever it is. Yeah, it wouldn't be a point blank on, hey, who do you think our stars should be tomorrow night? Because you're putting players on a difficult position, and so it's not that direct. The more of the conversations obviously is with the coaching staff, the general manager. Those are the ones who are really giving them a lot of the impact. But you know just overall how everyone feels.
There's Chris Knobloch, head coach of the Edmonton Oilers, talking about, maybe how do the players feel about the goaltending change? Well, they've seen it plenty this year in Edmonton. Joining us is Rob Brown and John Shannon. Guys, your thoughts on the goaltending change? I got to tell you before you get going, I did read something, and it said that if you don't know who the number one goaltender is on the Edmonton Oilers, and maybe they don't really have one, and I disagree with that. I think Stuart Skinner has had a number one goaltender season, but Calvin Pickard has been unbelievable as the backup, and maybe I guess that's why the waters are a little muddy, but not for me. Your thoughts?
Well, it wasn't muddy. We talked about it after the last game that it was going to be Stuart Skinner. There was no question in our mind. Stuart Skinner's been on this stage before. He's faced elimination games before and has been excellent in those games. He's played elimination games in Florida. With the Stanley Cup in the house. So this is nothing new to Stuart Skinner. He's been through it before, and he was fantastic in the last 4 games of the series last year. He won 3 of them. The one that he lost, he was really good in that game as well. So this was a no-brainer. Stuart Skinner was going to be the goalie of record tonight, and I think the Edmonton Oilers players, because of what they saw him go through last year and how well he played, have full confidence that he can get it done again.
Yeah, you know what, guys? I think the key thing in all of this is the people that were saying, well, who's the number one goalie, quite frankly, haven't watched the Edmonton Oilers enough this year.
Yeah.
And understand the roles that each of them play, and understand the role that Calvin Pickard plays. And you know what? When Pickard went in for his 6 consecutive victories, it was at a time when there was some urgency, but that didn't change the long-term planning of this organization, that Stuart Skinner was the guy of the present and the guy of the future. So to me, like the two of you, after the game on Saturday night, to me there was no question it was going to be Stuart Skinner, and when you look at the numbers that he puts up in these games 4-6, pretty spectacular. Save percentage well over .920. I think he's 5-1 in those games. He can't afford to be the one tonight, but he's got a really good record, and he plays like a lot of guys on this team. He really plays well when his back's against the wall, and I don't think there'll be any reason to think anything different than that. I'm sure that was part of Chris Knobloch's thinking when he and his group decided that Stuart would be the starter.
A lot of people are watching the power play tonight. A lot of people are watching the PK today. Brownie, what are you watching?
Oh, I think everything. But I said earlier, it starts and ends with Connor and Leon.
Okay.
They're the 2 best players in the world, and for the Edmonton Oilers, that is their advantage over the Florida Panthers. The Florida Panthers don't have a Connor, they don't have a Leon. And if Connor and Leon can play like they're capable of and have one of those nights, then we will be seeing a Game 7 here in a few nights' time in Edmonton. But they need a big night from Connor and Leon, and to me, that starts right from the first shift. Connor started well last game. It wasn't rewarded for a couple grade A scoring chances he had. Maybe getting the monkey off his back with the first goal in the finals, even though it was garbage time last game. Maybe that will be the springboard of a lot more here in the final 2 games from Connor McDavid.
John?
I tell you what, the one thing I would say is I know the morning skates try to indicate who's playing with whom. I just have a gut feeling I would not be surprised to see McDavid and Draisaitl play a lot together tonight. It's not necessarily what I would always prescribe, but something tells me if you're gonna win this game, you're gonna put your eggs in the one big basket. And Connor and Leon are going to play a lot of minutes, and I would not be surprised to see them play together a lot tonight.
Jack Michael suggested that both guys could be up around 30 minutes tonight, conceivably. Rob, we've often talked about, we always say they're going nuclear by throwing the two guys out there. You can't wait for Friday night. You got to make it happen tonight first, right?
Well, to me, and I said it last night, we had a podcast, I said I'd start with Connor and Leon on the same line. That is your best line. And the one thing that the Oilers have not been very good of as of late is starting game. They've been outscored 7-0 in their last 3 games. So why wait to be behind in the game before you put Connor and Leon together? Put them together right from the beginning and force the Florida Panthers to try and stop them. You want to have a better start? Well, what better start could you have than having the two best players playing in a must-win hockey game together? So I agree with John where you'll see them together a lot, but to me, that's my starting lineup. I'm having Connor and Leon out there in the starting lineup and starting them. It's like you got a pair of aces. Let's lead a pair of aces here tonight.
And the other part of that is the extra day off. Take advantage of it. You know, take advantage of Saturday to Tuesday. Take advantage of Tuesday to Friday, and you can therefore allow your two best guys go full bore all night long.
The other thing, too, and we were chuckling about it earlier on the pregame show talking, we've mentioned all these reasons why Florida wouldn't want to come back here. Nobody mentioned a 5-hour and 45-minute flight back to Edmonton. But, Brownie, at this time of year, guys don't look at it. I don't think that concerns guys at all. They just want to play. They just want to win.
Well, I don't think the Florida Panthers are looking at the flight as a reason why they want to win tonight's hockey game.
There's stuff to do.
There is a big silver trophy that is in the building tonight. So I don't think that the Florida Panthers say, we do not want to get on that airplane. They want to celebrate in Florida with their family and friends. Nobody wants to be in an elimination game simply because there's things you can't control. You could play the best game. You could be the best team on the ice. It does not mean you win the hockey game. So that's why you want to stay away from elimination games. The Florida Panthers, I would imagine, they will have their best game of the series tonight. And I believe the Edmonton Oilers will too. And at the end of the night, we'll see which one of them was just a bit better than the other.
And this is where experience does come through. I do think that both teams, having been through so much of it, well, for Florida, the last 2 seasons, because, they got nervous. And they were pretty banged up when they lost to Vegas. But the Cup was in the building one night against them. And a similar situation last year. Cup was in the building 4 consecutive nights for them. And they only closed it out on the 4th night. And I think that similarly won't faze the Edmonton Oilers. You know, they faced this in their own arena in Game 4 last year. And so they've been through it. This is where we look back at the Edmonton Oilers and we see those comments that the guys made in the first 3 rounds when they were playing in control, completely in control. And I fully expect this is a team that will play completely in control tonight, Bryn. This is one of those nights where experience and what they've been through the last year and a half will really play an important role in that.
Focus is what it's all about, absolutely. Hey, guys, just before we wrap up, and you guys have really broken down tonight's game well, but I just wanted to touch on the fact that some of the teams made their announcements of their first 6 players for the Olympics coming up on Monday. Canada was one of those, the U.S., Sweden, Finland, Czechia, along with Switzerland, Germany, Slovakia, Denmark, Latvia, and France, and Italy, all announcing. Did anything stand out like Canada? How can you complain with this? Sidney Crosby, Nathan McKinnon, Connor McDavid, you got Braden Point, Sam Reinhart, and Cale Makar. That is one great-looking lineup, Rob.
It is. The one thing that surprised me, it's funny because it has nothing to do with those teams. It was the France team. They listed their top 6 players. These are the automatics, and one of them plays in the East Coast Hockey League. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, there's one team we can count out of not getting a medal. It was kind of funny that of all the superstars they're listing, and every team, the U.S., Sweden, they all have these superstars listed, and then you see this kid from the East Coast League that was in that list as well. It was fun seeing the top 6, just showing how good they are. And then teams like Switzerland. All of a sudden, they've got 6. You're like, oh my, there's 6 fantastic players. You look at the Germans.
Yeah.
Wow, holy smokes. And I think, John, that's what makes the Four Nations and now the Olympics so incredible to watch, is how around the world now, every team is way deeper. Every team has superstars. All these countries, they haven't caught Canada, but they certainly, because of Canadian coaching, playing in the Canadian leagues, more international hockey, they've become better, and I think that's better for hockey in general.
All you have to do is look at some of those, and it's hard to call them second tier, but those second tier countries like Switzerland, like Germany, like Denmark. Even most of them are filled with NHL players, which, in previous Olympics wasn't necessarily the case. Although, if I'm Switzerland, the news today that came out the day after the announcement of the team that Roman Josi has an irregular heartbeat would probably put a concern, I guess, not only for Switzerland, but for the Nashville Predators. And hopefully over the summertime with some medication and some rehabilitation, that problem will dissipate for Josi, who's obviously one of the best players in the world. So from that perspective, the one thing, Bryn, about the announcement of all 12 teams for the Olympic tournament, I want to know why it happened now. I mean, we should be hyping the Stanley Cup final. We should be hyping the Oilers and the Panthers. And this announcement should have come next Monday when we know there isn't a hockey game, and the focus is now turned to the draft and free agency. And on an off day before all that hype starts, we could have talked about the 12 teams with a lot more notice.
I got sucked into it. I could say, how did that happen, John? Is this an International Ice Hockey Federation or the Olympic Committee or what? Because the timing really is weird.
The Olympic Committee, let's face it, the Olympic Committee are at a 50,000-foot level. This is an agreement between the NHL and the Federation. And why they picked Monday is beyond me. It should have been next week. The only thing I could suggest is that there's a certain time situation and days before the Olympics that it occurred. But to me, it was a mistake. Not only did it take away a little bit from the final, but it didn't give enough notice to the actual lists of the 12 teams. So it was a lose-lose situation as opposed to a win-win.
Totally agree. Hey, guys, let's settle in. Let's get ready for this one tonight. Game 6 between these two teams. John, hope to talk to you on Friday.
We'll be talking Friday. We'll be talking Friday, Brent.
Okay, perfect. Brownie, we'll talk to you in the first intermission. Looking forward to that. Okay? So it's starting to fill up here, obviously, at Ford Hall. More and more people are pouring in. They've sold every ticket in the building except for the low areas where you can't see the big screen, but it's going to be a great atmosphere here coming up shortly. We're pumped up about it. Game 6, Panthers, Oilers. The cup is in Sunrise, Florida. Oilers just don't want to see it handed out yet, so stay tuned. Up next is your Ford Dealers Oilers Radio Network. Jack and Bob with the call. Get ready for that. They're going to be on fire. You know that. You've been listening to the City Ford Face-Off Show live from Ford Hall here at Rogers Place. I'm Bryn Griffiths. This is 880 Chat.
Cairn Transportation Systems is hiring. One of Canada's best managed companies and top fleet employers, Cairn Transportation is looking for Class 1 professional drivers based in Alberta for short and long-haul work. Drivers enjoy competitive pay, assigned units, well-maintained equipment, and benefits in RRSP match from day one. If you're an experienced Class 1 driver with a clean safety record and scheduling flexibility, we want you on the Cairn team. Apply today at CairnTransport.ca/careers. That's CairnTransport.ca/careers.
Now more than ever, it's time to shop Canadian. Support your local businesses that create jobs and invest in our communities. Brought to you by Proudly Canadian 880 Chad.
Ain't it beautiful?
The Discover Days sales event is on right now at Volvo Cars Edmonton. Discover the best deals of the season on XC40, XC60, and deals on the XC90 with lease rates as low as 2.49%, OAC, $5,000 in savings. Discover these incredible deals and discover an outstanding experience at Canada's #1 volume Volvo dealership, Volvo Cars Edmonton.
Volvo of Edmonton.
Bring your friends, bring your family, and experience the roar of the track. Head to Century Mile Racetrack and Casino for some of the finest live thoroughbred racing in Western Canada. Catch all the heart-pounding action, the thrill of the finish line, and the excitement of live racing every Friday and Saturday. Horse Racing Alberta can't wait to see you down at the track. For more information and to stay up to date, head to thehorses.com.
Is your old and cramped bathroom a little too last century? It may be time to get started on that renovation that you've always wanted. With DryTech Interiors, they'll transform your bathroom into something truly beautiful. As your residential renovation professionals, DryTech makes sure to deliver outstanding results no matter the project. They'll even make it super easy, managing the design, permits, and construction. Get started on your renovation today and request a quote at drytechinteriors.com. DryTech Interiors, transforming your space for lasting memories.
Hi, this is Shannon Conlon from Conlon Motorsports. Whether you're tearing up the trails, cruising through the city, or heading out on the water, we've got you covered. From motorcycles to marine, ATVs to RVs, our expert team is here to match you with a quality product from the best manufacturers in the business. Because life's too short to miss out on another summer of enjoying all that Alberta has to offer. Conlon Motorsports, everything you need here to get out there. Check us out at conlonmotorsports.ca. That's conlonmotorsports.ca.
Stay connected with 880 CHED via your smart speakers. It's as easy as telling your favorite virtual assistant, play 880 CHED. Listen in on smart speakers and stay informed throughout the day with up-to-the-minute news, talk, sports, and more. 880 CHED.
It's time to upgrade to Claws during the Claws Limited Inventory Sale. Now through June 30th, get 0% financing for 60 months on select Claws Axion tractors or 3.99% financing for 60 months on select Arian tractors. With superior performance, industry-leading support, and unbeatable long-term ROI, it's a deal that's made for more on a tractor that's made for you. Ask your Claws dealer about the Limited Inventory Sale or visit claws.com. That's CLAAS.com.
Breathe in the fresh air with Parks and Pathways steps from your front door at West Winds in Morinville. Ideally situated in the vibrant town of Morinville, West Winds homes feature everything you need, including easy highway access, a brand new school, green spaces, playgrounds, and so much more. Choose from a variety of floor plans highlighted by modern open concept designs and quality finishes. Build the home of your dreams and experience small town feel with big town features today by visiting westwindsliving.ca, a Landrex development.
This is Oil Country.
Here comes McDavid. This town explodes!
And this is Rogers Game Night. Portions of this exclusive NHL broadcast are brought to you by Ford, official partner of the Edmonton Oilers. Built Ford proud. Molson, official beer of the Edmonton Oilers. Whether it's Canadian, Ultra, Export, or Excel, there's a Molson with your name on it. Must be legal drinking age. And Rogers, proud partner and fan of the Edmonton Oilers. Now your host for Rogers Game Night, Bob Stauffer, on the Oilers Radio Network.
A desperate game, an urgent game, but they found a way to get the first one and the second one.
Marchand ducks inside Walma to the net. Backhander score. 3-0 Florida. Connor McDavid, a one-timer by Bouchard, got through a save Bobrovsky. McDavid feeds Ekholm on to Bouchard. Steps up, back to McDavid to the net. Score. 3-1 and still 12.5 minutes remain. 1 Florida, 11:50 to play. Corey Perry, the extra attacker on. Draisaitl tried to center. That deflected up top. A drive score. Corey Perry cuts it to 4-2. Rebound. Panthers fire it down the ice. Bullseye. Empty netter. And that will put Edmonton away 5-2.
We're a team that can always find a way to come back, but it's not always going to happen. And sometimes when you put yourself behind, you're not going to find ways to get back. So we got to figure out our first period here, and we'll look to correct that in Game 6.
so this is it. Game 6, do or die tonight for the Edmonton Oilers at Amerant Bank Arena. Bob Stauffer tonight, along with Jack Michaels, Cam Moon, Rob Brown, Bryn Griffiths, Brendan Escott. We are the Oilers Radio Network. Studio producers Kellen Kennedy at the helm tonight, along with Eamon Hashem and Angie Quinnell, and Alex Lopez is our engineer. Oilers down 3-2, but in Game 6s in the McDavid-Draisaitl era, the Edmonton Oilers are 8-1. The only one they've lost was at home when they got eliminated by Vegas in 2023. Stuart Skinner will start in goal. Kasperi Kapanen in for Victor Arvidsson. John Klingberg in for Troy Stetcher. When we return, Edmonton Oilers head coach Chris Knobloch. There's 27 minutes to face off. This is the Stanley Cup Final, Game 6 on the Oilers Radio Network.
The Edmonton Oilers Community Foundation 50-50, presented by Rogers, is back and bigger than ever. The largest 50-50 in sports offers early bird draws, bonus raffles, and a main jackpot, which is growing by the second. With over $100 million invested across oil country, your support directly helps kids, families, and communities in need. Maybe you'll be our next winner. Get your tickets right now at EdmontonOilers.com and help make oil country a better place.
AGLC license number 696879.
Real Canadian Superstore has more ways to save than any other major grocer. Check out their weekly flyer for PC Optimum offers, deals on club size, no name, and always low-priced everyday items. Visit in-store to find everything from fashion and home decor to toys and electronics. And don't forget their new Fresh Promise on produce. If your produce isn't fresh, they'll replace it and refund it. There are so many ways to save at Real Canadian Superstore. See their flyer for details.
This is the Game File on the Oilers Radio Network.
You got to find a level of intensity, a little bit of passion, a little bit of fun, not put too much pressure on yourself, but you need some pressure, and then just everything's got to work out. And, I thought we had a great skate the other day. I loved the attitude. One thing I've found with this team going back to last year is when our backs are against the wall, they play their best. They bring their best. And we haven't really had our backs up against the wall very much this year. But last year certainly saw it where guys just almost going through the motions until it's on the line. And obviously it's on the line right now, and we're going to need the best out of those 20 guys that were dressed tonight.
That is Edmonton Oilers head coach Chris Knobloch. This is Rogers Game Night, courtesy of Rogers, proud partner and fan of the Edmonton Oilers. The Oilers, this is Oil Country Playoffs 50-50, presented by Rogers, is now live for the Stanley Cup Final. Tonight's early bird prizes include 5 chances to win $1,000 cash and $15,000 cash. The main jackpot is already over $8.5 million, and the playoff bonus jackpot is over $11.25 million. Edmonton Oilers and the Florida Panthers, Game 6. Florida winning 5-2 in Game 5 after the Oilers rallied from a 3-0 deficit in Game 4 to win in overtime 5-4. We're in the Legacy Heating and Cooling broadcast with Legacy Heating and Cooling, home of no interest and no payments for 1 year. Leon Draisaitl says the Oilers can draw on their elimination game experiences.
Yeah, it helps. But, not much has changed for us. If we wanted to win, we would have had to win this game here on the road anyways. So for us, it's about, trying to get to our game a little bit quicker, playing better. I think we still haven't seen our best, and it'll be a great time to show it.
That's Goalie Oilers Injury Report. It's brought to you all season long by MIC, proud partner, official medical imaging provider to the Edmonton Oilers. Well, we found this out. Actually, Jack Michaels passed this note along to me a couple days ago. I did not actually know this. Zach Hyman is the one injured player that's not available to either of these two teams. And Zach Hyman currently has the most goals in the playoffs of any active player in one single playoff season. He had 16 last year. 3 other players are at 15. Sidney Crosby, Alexander Ovechkin each had 15 once in their careers. And, oh, by the way, Sam Bennett of the Florida Panthers at 15 as well. So no Zach Hyman, who was at 66% expected goals for, and he was leading the NHL in hits. That's a mammoth loss for the Oilers. There's no question about it. He had 111 hits. and was plus 10. So, I mean, it's been a challenge. It's not an excuse, but it is a factor. Let's go to the line combinations of the game presented by PlayAlberta.ca, an official gambling partner of the Edmonton Oilers. Connor McDavid up front with Ryan Nugent-Hopkins and Corey Perry in the warm-up. Corey Perry, what a year. 19 regular season goals, 10 more here in the playoffs. McDavid tied with Leon Draisaitl, 33 points for the most points in the playoffs. Leon Draisaitl, Evander Kane, we told you Kasperi Kapanen's back. He's slotted in on that line. Of course, there's always the option to play McDavid and Draisaitl together and slide RNH into the 2-hole at center as well. Henrique with Skinner and Frederick. This line's actually had very good analytics through the last couple of games. Janmark, Podkolzin, and Connor Brown. Ekholm and Bouchard. Evan Bouchard's going to be the highest scoring defenseman in the playoffs for the third consecutive year. Darnell Nurse and Brett Kulak. And it'll be Jake Wallman with John Klingberg drawing back in. Stuart Skinner starts in goal. In elimination games in his NHL career, he is, over the last 2 years, 5-1, a 1.67 goals against average, a .928 save percentage. However, he's at just an .895 save percentage in 5-on-5 and .860 overall. And the problem is he's going up against Sergei Bobrovsky, who's at .931 5v5 and .912 overall. Oilers need a good start from Skinner tonight. And they need to get out of the first period because they've been outscored 7-0 in the last 3 first periods of this series. 11-4 overall. And it's played a factor in why they've been changed. It's the difference of the goals in the series. For the Panthers, who are the top offensive team and the top defensive team in the playoffs. Barkov with Verhaeghe and Reinhart. Bennett with Rodriguez and Tkachuk. A dominant third line, Anton Lundell with Eetu Luostarinen and Brett Marchand, who's got 6 goals in this series. Nosek with Greer and Gadjevich, a heavy line. Greer and Gadjevich only playing about .740 per game. Forsling, a wonderful skater paired with Ekblad. Kulikov and Jones, Schmidt and Mikla, and Sergei Bobrovsky, 15-7, a 2.26 goals against average, a .912 save percentage. He gets the starting goal. I mentioned Stuart Skinner starts for the Edmonton Oilers. These thoughts on how he bounces back from game number 4.
Might sound weird. I felt like I played well, but sometimes that happens. It's just life, especially as a goalie. It can be hard sometimes. But I mean, the process after that is try to shake it off as quickly as I am able to. I wasn't able to for a little bit. I was a little bit frustrated, but it kind of took me a day, and it's just back to work. And there's not much time in this league, especially in the finals, to soak on it and feel bad for yourself. So you just got to go back on the ice the next day and start working on your game again.
We're 20 minutes away from face-off, and this is Rogers Game Night. Action of the Stanley Cup Final, game number 6, do or die for the Edmonton Oilers on the Oilers Radio.
Play Alberta has hundreds of casino games right at your fingertips. Join thousands discovering why Fortune Coin is one of Alberta's most popular games. Fill your reels with golden coins. Multiply your prizes up to 6 times and turn good spins into legendary ones. Land the Fortune Coin symbol to win cash. Trigger the jackpot. Launch the free spins bonus and watch as the dragon takes over your screen. New players get 100 free spins only on playalberta.ca. Claim your offer today. If you gamble, use your game sense.
Athletes know that to advance your career, you've got to be part of a winning team. So, what about you? Are you working for a winning team? Well, here's your chance to do just that. Brandt is a strong and stable industry leader with career opportunities across Canada. We have hundreds of positions available right now, from parts, sales, positioning technology, heavy-duty mechanics, and more. Be a part of a winning team. Earn your stripes by joining Brandt today. Find out more at BrandtJobs.com.
This is Rogers Game Night on the Oilers Radio Network.
Welcome back, everybody. Let's go to Legacy Heating and Cooling. Who's hot, who's not? Legacy Heating and Cooling, home and no payments and no interest for a year. Bobby and Steve and the staff at Legacy. Connor McDavid, in these 2 Stanley Cup Finals, has a combined total of 18 points in 12 games. Leon Draisaitl, 4 goals, 8 points in this series for the Edmonton Oilers. Brad Marchand, I mentioned 6 goals in 5 games. Bennett also has 5 goals in this Stanley Cup Finals series. Out of town scoreboard for Pizza 73, the official pizza of the Edmonton Oilers. We've carried this all year long. There ain't any other games tonight in the National Hockey League. It's all about Florida and Edmonton. Game 6 Stanley Cup Final, and it's do or die for the Edmonton Oilers. Stay tuned following the game for the Alberta Blue Cross Travel Insurance goal of the game. Health, dental, travel. We got the coverage you need. Visit ab.bluecross.ca. There is a total of 17 minutes to face off. When we come back on Rogers Game Night, Jack Michaels and Rob Brown will join me. You're listening to the Oilers Radio Network.
Get paid to stay with Edmonton's Best Hotels. Book through edmontonsbesthotels.com and receive up to $225 in gas, meal, or cash cards. There's over 52 hotels to choose from. Edmonton's Best Hotels. Get paid to stay.
Over the last decade, the world of work has changed dramatically. It's a change that can cause a disconnect between a company and its employees. But a partnership with Aon can help by making decisions that create a more flexible, engaged, and resilient workforce. Aon's experience and expertise, global understanding, and advanced analytics ensure that every client is better informed and better advised so that they can make better decisions. Whatever the next decade brings, Aon is in the business of better decisions.
Get paid to stay with Edmonton's Best Hotels. Book through edmontonsbesthotels.com and receive up to $225 in gas, meal, or cash cards. There's over 52 hotels to choose from. Edmonton's Best Hotels. Get paid to stay.
You're listening to Rogers Game Night on the official voice of the Edmonton Oilers, 880 CHAD, and on the Oilers Radio Network.
Welcome back, everybody. We are live at Emirates Bank Arena. Bob Stauffer, Jack Michaels with you. Rob Brown back at the 880 CHED Studios in Edmonton. Jack, you can feel the feverish pitch. The Stanley Cup is in the house. The Edmonton Oilers want to make that Stanley Cup in the house at Rogers Place on Friday.
Well, that's the biggest thing. They want to send the Stanley Cup final and drag the Panthers back to Alberta for a second consecutive year. They did it in Game 5 last season. They came in here, withstood a pretty good Florida effort in that Game 5 and found a way to get the win, take it back to Game 6, took care of business that night, 5-1 with a couple of empty netters, only to come up shy in Game 7. I think when you look at this game, for me, Bob, the key will be Edmonton's ability to keep it 5-on-5. I think that's the strength of this hockey club. They need to saw off Florida's third line, come out of the game no worse than even with respect to the matchup head-to-head against Lundell, Luostarinen, and Marchand, and then allow its high-end talent to outmaneuver Florida's high-end talent. They have in terms of scoring chances, but not necessarily actually goals on the board. That's where I think Edmonton can win this series if they can start sawing off that Florida third line.
Rob, you played on the power play, and at times power plays can be a little bit cyclical in nature. They run hot and cold. Some of the advanced metrics would suggest the Oilers are creating lots of opportunities to the tune of 14.4 expected goals per 60. New Jersey at the league high. That's in the final, 14.4 in the final. But, and I know you mentioned this earlier in Oilers Now, I, like you, am surprised that Florida has won the special teams. I mean, their penalty killing was good last year against Edmonton, too. It's a pressure PK. Are the Oilers unlucky? Or is it a byproduct of how good Florida's PK, or both? What do you think?
Well, I think it's a combination of both. I think the Florida Panthers are a fantastic penalty-killing team. It's not just the Oilers that they've slowed down. They've slowed down every team in the playoffs. They're the number one penalty-killing team for a reason. They're incredibly aggressive. They're very good at getting in shooting lanes and passing lanes, and they've got the best goaltender. So if a puck gets through, he makes big saves. To me, the two things that the Oilers had an advantage coming into this series, in my mind, was going to be on their power play, special teams, and the fact that they had the two best players. And that hasn't worked out in their favor like I thought it should have. I know that Jack talked about the fact that Connor and Leon have had a good series, but the difference, the separation between them and the top Florida Panthers players isn't as big as it needs to be, because there are other depth problems for the Oilers and matching up against, and you guys keep calling it the third line. They don't have a third line in Florida. They have 3 number 1 lines. That's how good their lines are, and that's why it's a matchup problem for Edmonton here through 5 games.
Yeah. Got to survive the first period, don't they?
They
Too
do.
much chasing.
They just don't want to be chasing, and that's the problem. When you're chasing, it's exhausting. Now, the Oilers are capable of coming back. They've got 8 comeback victories in the playoffs already out of 14, so they've come back more than they've won when they've started with the lead. But this is a Florida team that's smelling a Stanley Cup. They are so close. So the Oilers, they got to be better in the first. They got to capitalize in the first. They can't be chasing a game, and they've just got to put some stress on the Florida Panthers. The Florida Panthers had 0 stress in Game 5. They put a little stress on them, get the Florida Panthers thinking of a possible Game 7. To me, that's something the Florida Panthers didn't face at all in Game 5. The Oilers need to be better tonight so that they can give a little bit of thought to the Florida Panthers sitting on their bench.
I agree with Rob. I think the other key, in addition to kind of at least canceling out, Rob, like come up even against the third line and come up even after the first period. I think even in Leon Draisaitl's press conference today, he sounded weary about the prospect of having to mount yet another comeback in this game, in this series. I think the other thing I'd like to see is how Florida would react to some real adversity. Now, I'll give the Panthers credit. They were down a game. Perry scores with 17 seconds to go. Going down the tunnel, they had every reason to feel discouraged in Game 2 at Rogers Place. They came out. Marchand got the overtime winner, and I think Florida's been in control of the series ever since. But, Rob, if you get up early in this game and the thought, and you played, when you've got not only the prospect of another playoff game to play, but a 5-hour flight, extremely hostile atmosphere, that can creep into players' minds. I know you're supposed to be professionals, but Rob, does that not play a mitigating factor as well if Edmonton can get up early and often tonight?
You would think, but this is a Florida team that lost Game 6 on home ice and had to go into Toronto and won easily. I just don't think that this team is too veteran. They've been through too much. I don't think anything really affects them, but at least give them pause. I mean, if you're in the third period and you're the Florida Panthers and you can see 8 minutes, 12 minutes, whatever it is, away from a Stanley Cup, and you got a multiple goal or 2-goal lead, you feel pretty confident. If it's 1 goal or even, all of a sudden, now there's stress because you're so close to your goal. You can grasp it, but you haven't extended everything. Every shift now becomes a little more stressful, a little more nerve-wracking. To me, the longer this game stays close, I think that favors the Oilers because the Florida Panthers have been the better team for the last 3 games, if 4 games, whatever it is, and significantly better in some of these games. So I think if the Oilers stay close in this hockey game, I think the stress level will go up on the Florida Panthers bench.
Rob, the Oilers at no point this year have been do or die. And they went 5-1 last year in elimination games that Stuart Skinner. 1.67 goals against average. 928 save percentage. It's a different team this year, but they have shown a propensity. They're 8-1 in Game 6s in the McDavid-Draisaitl era. Why?
Well, they got the 2 best players in the world, and when they decide that, we don't want to go home, they have their best nights. Why Stuart Skinner is better in Game 6 than he is in Game 2, I don't know. But I think part of it is the team is better in front of them. I just think this Oiler team, I know that it was cup or bust before the season last, and I think that was a little bit extra pressure that the Oilers put on themselves. But this is a team that it's not hoping to win a Stanley Cup. They expect to win a Stanley Cup. And I think right now they are so close. If the Oilers lose tonight, Connor and Leon will be within 3 games of back-to-back Stanley Cups. 3 wins, that's it. So I don't think they want to go home empty-handed again. I think tonight you're going to see the best effort from Connor and Leon, and hopefully the rest of the team will follow.
Where do you, right now, I mean, without knowing what's going to happen in Game 6 or 7, is the magnitude of an Oiler Stanley Cup in this series, a win, magnified by how good the opponent is, Rob? I've kind of prattled on endlessly about, geez, Florida seems as good a champion as I've seen in a long time in the National Hockey League. Do you agree as a former player?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the Florida Panthers, I said it before the series, I said it before the playoffs, Florida's a better team today than they were last year. You added Jones, who's a number one defenseman. You added Marchand, who is a first-line player in just about every team in the NHL, and he's playing on their third line. So they are a better team than they were last year. I think if you look back and just watch the way both teams played last year, you can make a case in the 7 games that the Oilers were better in 4, the Florida Panthers were better in 2, and 1 was even. But at the end of the night, goaltending and bounces didn't go the Oilers' way. I think this year in the playoffs through 5 games, Panthers have been better in 3.
Yes.
And the other 2 were coin flips. So this is a better
The other 2 are among
Panther
the 2
team.
best games I've ever seen in the Stanley Cup playoffs.
Oh, absolutely they were. We just need to see 2 more of those games before this series is over.
Well, the Oilers have got to do their part. Let's go to Ford, keys to the game. Brought to you by Ford, the official partner of the Edmonton Oilers, built Ford proud. Rob, what do you got?
Well, I think it just goes on what we've been talking here. There's three keys. Saves from Skinner, the power play needs to score, and the Oilers need to get out of the first period even.
Yeah. The Stuart Skinner, I mean, Jack, it's his opportunity here, isn't it?
Well, I think we're going to find out a lot about the Oilers' goaltending now, in the soon-to-be now,
yes,
and the soon-to-be future. I think this has ramifications that are long-lasting as far as the Oilers' crease are concerned. If Stuart Skinner wins the next 2 games, he's going to be an Oiler potentially for the next decade. If he doesn't, he may not be an Oiler next year. And I mean, that may sound outlandish, but I honestly believe there's a lot riding on the next 2 games for a number of players on the Edmonton Oilers in terms of the path they take and what they elect to bring back.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. Rob, you're going to join Bryn Griffiths during the end of the roll. First and second intermissions, and Jack Michaels will have the call up next. It's the Edmonton Oilers, the Florida Panthers. Do or die tonight for the Oilers. Panthers up 3-2 in the Stanley Cup final. On 4 Dealers NHL Hockey on the Oilers Radio Network.
Blue-collar work deserves big-dollar perks. Get a heavy wallet with Heavy Metal Equipment and Rentals. Heavy Metal Equipment and Rentals is hiring heavy equipment technicians, maintenance supervisors, PM servicemen, maintenance coordinators, and pretty much every other position that makes Alberta go. We help move the earth that makes Alberta grow. So why not work for a company that makes your bank account grow too? Visit HeavyMetalEquipment.ca to find your new career. Heavy Metal Equipment and Rentals, helping you move the earth.
Ready to score big on your outdoor space? It's game time with Park Landscaping. Transform your backyard into a winning arena with Park Landscaping's expert team. From design to maintenance of lush lawns and state-of-the-art synthetic turf to inviting pools and captivating water features, Park Landscaping will make your outdoor space the MVP. Don't sit on the sidelines. Get in the game with Park Landscaping. Call 780-486-2744 today or email info@parklandscaping.ca.
Businesses deserve the best protection against cyber threats. Alltech offers state-of-the-art IT and cybersecurity solutions to safeguard digital assets. The team of experts at Alltech are dedicated to providing the highest level of security, ensuring that data remains safe and operations are seamless. With Alltech, businesses can focus on growth while the rest is handled. From advanced threat detection to comprehensive data security, Alltech has it covered. Choose Alltech for reliable and effective cybersecurity. Visit alt-tech.ca now to learn more.
Bored of your current flooring? With stiff competition in the hard surfaces market, there's never been a better time to get a little less rigid in our pricing. Wood, you like a great deal? We have solid savings. Yeah, I don't know how to work laminate or vinyl plank into this, but you get the point. Try them all in our visualizer at endoftheroll.com to see it in your home. The Hard Surfaces event on now at End of the Roll Flooring Centers.
12870 St. Albert Trail and now open at 580 Parsons Road Southwest.
We welcome you back live to Sunrise, Florida. It's Edmonton and the defending Stanley Cup champion Panthers. Game 6 of the Stanley Cup final. A few national anthems away. We send it down ringside.
Oh, Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love in all of us command. With glowing hearts we see their eyes, the true north strong and free. From far and wide, O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. God, keep our land glorious and free. O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Now, tonight's exclusive NHL broadcast.
Shoots and scores! But now it's Draisaitl off to Connor McDavid. Centers Kane for the hat trick. He scores!
All the action called by the voices who know the game inside and out.
This crowd explodes!
Bob Stauffer and Jack Michaels on the Oilers Radio Network.
This is Game 6 of the Stanley Cup Final, and I'm Jack Michaels alongside Bob Stauffer to bring it to you on 880 CHED and the Oilers Radio Network. Electric atmosphere inside Emirates Bank Arena in Sunrise, Florida, after a boiling hot day with temperatures in the high 30s and high humidity. Stuart Skinner, 5-1 over the last 6 elimination games he plays. Will get the call in net, 7-6, save percentage, .891 in the Stanley Cup playoffs. Bouchard and Ekholm in front of him. Opening line centered for now by Connor McDavid, Nugent Hopkins, and Corey Perry are his wingers. The starting lineup brought to you by Coventry Homes. Flexibility within reach. Get back in the game. Customizable designs from Coventry, the official builder of the Edmonton Oilers, dressed in the white outlined in blue and orange. Here we go. Sasha Barkov, Connor McDavid, the two captains in Game 6 is underway, with Florida having control of the faceoff. Bobrovsky in net, Forsling and Ekblad, the starting pair on defense. Verhaeghe and Sam Reinhart are Barkov's wingers. Edmonton is offside, moving over the line left to right in our first period, a period in which Edmonton has been outscored 7-0 over the last 3 games. Referees John Hebert, Chris Rooney, linesman Devin Berg and Ryan Gibbons. Puck dropped outside the Florida line this time. Barkov wins it. Forsling shoots wide, and that's an errant play by Forsling, leading to an icing call against the defending champions. 16 seconds into this first period, Edmonton and Florida in Game 6 of the final. The cup is in the building. The Panthers can go back-to-back with a win tonight. If not, Game 7 in Edmonton. Friday night, we'd have it for you at 620 Mountain. McDavid wins the draw, pounded toward the net by Ekholm. A painful block by Carter Verhaeghe, and now Evan Bouchard will send it in deep for Edmonton. 6 consecutive finals. A team from the Sunshine State has been in it. Tampa won 2 of 3. Florida looking to do the same. Shot in by Forsling around the boards. Ekholm trying to gather behind the net, giving way to McDavid, and off to Corey Perry. We expect McDavid and Draisaitl to be paired together perhaps as soon as the next shift. A big hit by Perry as he flattened Brad Marchand and his helmet popped off. 77 years of living on this planet came together in that collision. A dump in and Seth Jones fell down. Draisaitl finishing his check, and Edmonton has been bruising in the early going. Draisaitl burrows in. He has both overtime winners. A quick shot by Kane and a save made by Bobrovsky. The rebound underneath his prone form, and he gets a whistle. He did not have that puck cleanly, had no idea where it was. Draisaitl won a battle, and Kane wasted no time in firing the first shot on net tonight, and Bobrovsky a little fortunate to get the whistle.
100%, and fortunate that didn't squeeze through the wickets there. 2 big hits for the Edmonton Oilers. And it was Corey Perry and Leon Draisaitl throwing the body around. Oilers need something out of Evander Kane. They've moved him into the top 6 here, Jack.
Kane, 6 goals, 12 points in the Stanley Cup playoffs. Off the draw, won by Draisaitl. Kapanen did not play last game. He parachutes out of the press box and right into the top 6. Matthew Tkachuk clears for the Panthers, who are dressed in the red, the blue pants, the white numerals. Brett Kulak feeds it up the gut for Darnell Nurse. Gives it up. Kane looking to shoot again. This time he whiffs, and here comes Sam Bennett. But Evander Kane looks like he's on a mission tonight for the Edmonton Oilers. Bennett over the line. A shot off the rush by Matthew Tkachuk. Missed badly. Rebound held in by Nico Mikkola. Bennett, of course, the Stanley Cup leader with 15 goals in the postseason. Mikkola forced behind the net by Trent Frederick, and then he'll swing it back to Bennett, who's joined by Hyman, Crosby, Ovechkin. Those are the only players in the last 20 years to come up with as many as 15 goals in a single playoff run. It's Nurse up to center. He'll shoot it in. Giving it a look is Bobrovsky, and then Nurse pitchforked it back behind the net. Grabbing it once again is Evander Kane. He's hungry on that puck. And now Adam Henrique twists it back to Woolman, a shot, and that got through, and a save made by Bobrovsky. Frederick and Henrique lingering and working along the end boards. Jeff Skinner has come on to join this line. John Klingberg shoots off the glass, and Skinner's back on the puck for Edmonton. He'll send it behind the net for Frederick. Angled, a shot by Klingberg, redirected. John Klingberg back in the lineup after a 2-game hiatus where Troy Stetcher took over. Mikkola did not get it out. Edmonton punches it back, and then Skinner ripped one wide from a tough angle short side. Held in by Wallman, and the Oilers continue to roll it. Skinner fires, save Bobrovsky, and another awkward-looking stop. Edmonton all over Florida in the first 3 minutes as both Jeff Skinner and Evander Kane firing from above the right face-off dot gave Bobrovsky fits, but give the 36-year-old credit. He's able to come up with both saves and keep it scoreless.
Yeah, the Oilers didn't shoot enough the other night early. They only had 3 shots on goal the entire first period. They're already at 4 right now. And we're 3 minutes into this game.
Florida dominated early in this game. Shots are 4-0, 3 minutes in, and Edmonton goes right back to work. And this is what we were talking about before the game, Bob, getting all 4 lines going early. This time it's Janmark, Podkolzin, and Brown's turn. Bennett to take the draw for Florida. Kulak and Nurse, the pairing. A face-off, fought for, controlled, and finally cleared by Evan Rodriguez, then turned back over. And Florida's fumbling around in its own end right now. Rodriguez given another opportunity by Kulikov, located Bennett, and he'll shoot it in deep. Shaky start for the defending champions. Oilers on the puck. Connor Brown double team down low in his own zone. Bennett tried to nudge it out front. Brown had it, lost it, poked away by Rodriguez. Schmidt up top. Kulikov, right point. Deliberate pass off the boards, kicked off the side of the net, patrolled by Skinner. Rodriguez, Kulikov, Nate Schmidt. Wrist shot redirected and a right pad save on Matthew Tkachuk, made by goaltender Stuart Skinner. Janmark with the rebound locates Nurse, angled up to Podkolzin, and though he was belted, the puck remains under Edmonton's control. Skinner wanders out to handle for Kulak. 4 minutes gone. Edmonton and Florida, no score in Game 6. Panthers won Game 5 by a count of 5-2, and already we've seen McDavid and Draisaitl paired together. 4 minutes into the hockey game, McDavid and Draisaitl are on the first line together. Here's Sasha Barkov for Florida, looking to give it up to Verhaeghe. Cycle disrupted by Matthias Ekholm. Barkov working hard against Evan Bouchard, peeled away by Ekholm. Shakes off a stick check, a hit hard on Corey Perry, and the puck shaken back through Ekholm, and then Bouchard had it taken away by Reinhart. Ducks inside on Ekholm. Shot score! Sam Reinhart. Brilliant individual play. And Florida takes a 1-0 lead in Game 6 at 4:36.
Well, it's just a great play by Sam Reinhart. Bouchard turns the puck over, and Reinhart hops inside of Matthias Ekholm, elevates the puck up and over Stuart Skinner on the glove side. Oilers had possession of the puck. It's a stationary breakout that Edmonton blows, and Florida yet again has scored in the first period.
And on their first shot, credited. Sam Reinhart unassisted, 4:36. His 8th of the playoffs, and we said it in Game 3 when he got on the board that gave Reinhart a bit of a sniff. And he's been going ever since with goals in 4 consecutive games for the Florida Panthers. Chipped up the left-hand side off the draw. Anton Lundell fires into the glove of Stuart Skinner. As now Florida wants to test Skinner a little bit. And 5 minutes into this game, after a promising start, and you heard Chris Knobloch talk about this after Game 5, promising first 4 or 5 minutes, and then Florida is able to score.
Well, the Oilers are going to have to dig in even deeper here, because this building was on it, and Florida was a little bit off for the first 3 or 4 minutes of the game, and Bobrovsky fought a couple shot attempts off. In tight, look out.
Off the draw, quick chance, and a save made by Skinner right off the faceoff. And Florida has scored off the draw at times in this series. Lundell that time right off the faceoff.
I mean, Reinhart individual effort beats 2 men on this goal to make it 1-0. And think about what happened with Brad Marchand's 2 goals.
Ducked inside of Jake Woolman and then split the defense on a faceoff that Florida actually lost. Off the draw, Mikkola in front. Quick shot denied, and that's a big save on Gadjevich by Stuart Skinner. Maybe that settles him and the Oilers down, because that was a sitter for Gadjevich. He and A.J. Greer making their postseason debuts this year. And Gadjevich looking for his 3rd of the playoffs. Didn't happen. Oilers funnel it up the right-hand side. Pulled off the puck was Kulak. Lead pass Seth Jones down the middle. A.J. Greer, and he's checked by Darnell Nurse, and the play dies for Skinner to leave it for Brett Kulak. Rammed it off the boards. Kasperi Kapanen looking for a bouncing puck that's forced free by Bennett. And he'll reset behind the Florida net. Turned over. Kapanen with a puck in the high slot. Panthers still a little bit jittery in their own end, but now a clear back to the Edmonton line, and that's gathered by Jake Wallman as the Oilers look to move up ice left to right. They trail 1-0. Sam Reinhart unassisted 4.5 minutes in. Here's Bennett jumping on a loose puck in the neutral zone to Nate Schmidt up to Evan Rodriguez. Carried as far as center, tried to get it in deep, and John Klingberg wouldn't let him. Off to Nugent Hopkins, and then on to Wallman. He'll drive it behind the net. So with the switch to McDavid and Draisaitl together, 5-on-5, you've got Nugent Hopkins centering Kane and Kapanen. Here's Kulikov. looking to muscle it out, does so to center ice, and now Sam Reinhart takes it out wide, looking to get a shot off, and Wallman won't let him. Barkov in the corner, takes over for Reinhart, who then lost the puck battle to Kane, chipped back toward the high slot, held in by Carter Verhaeghe. Little give and go. Verhaeghe tried to kick it to his forehand off his right skate out to Ekblad at drive, and that was blocked by Wallman. He's slightly hobbled as the puck trickles back to center, carried in by Verhaeghe. Barkov gives it back to him, and a quick shot curled wide. Rebound Brad Marchand mishandled the puck, and now it's Draisaitl on to Connor McDavid. 2 Florida Panthers back. McDavid will chip it toward Bobrovsky, play it up the right-hand side. Marchand did not get it out as Corey Perry looked to snatch it away, but Barkov able to recover. Verhaeghe cross ice, and now Ekblad will be guilty of an icing call. Poor pass intended for Marchand. Ekholm back defensively to draw the icing call with 12:42 to go in the first period. Edmonton the first 5 shots on net, Florida the last 4.
And one in the net on a brilliant individual effort from Sam Reinhart.
But now off the icing call, it'll be Barkov against Draisaitl. Perry will line up in the slot. McDavid on the left half board, shadowed by Forsling. Face-off win for Barkov. Looking to skate it up ice is Verhaeghe, and he got clipped. A hard hit by Bouchard, and Verhaeghe will dash off the ice as Ekholm takes over behind the Edmonton net. McDavid, a drop-off for Ekholm up the left-hand side. Corey Perry flung it toward Bobrovsky. He's forced to cover. 12:23 to go in the first period. Keep in mind, with McDavid and Draisaitl together 5-on-5, this is maybe why Chris Knobloch looks toward that, because coming into tonight in elimination games, they had an 81-16 advantage in shot attempts when playing 5-on-5. McDavid and Draisaitl together, never a bad solution. But right now, it's Florida who's broken out on top in Game 6. 1-0 on a goal by Sam Reinhart. We played 7.5 minutes, and this is Ford Dealers NHL Hockey, the Oilers Radio Network.
Celebrating 70 years in the signage industry, William Huff Advertising is the most recognized name in the game. An in-house, one-stop shop for all of your design, print, and installation needs. William Huff provides quality graphic solutions for everyone. Here in our City of Champions and throughout the nation, they're the preferred signage partner entrusted by many of the biggest corporations, pro sports teams, and organizations to bring their identity to life. Recognize the name, get in the game. WilliamHuff.com.
Our people, our team. It's what business owners almost always say is their most important resource. But strong businesses don't just find great people. They make sure their teams stay healthy, engaged, and performing at their best. A benefits plan from Alberta Blue Cross is more than just drug and dental. They support the whole person with flexible coverage levels that fit the size and circumstance of your business. Find a plan that gets results at ab.bluecross.ca.
Hey, Edmonton. Ever think about who gets your hard-earned money when you buy groceries or gas? For all you know, it could be buying a second yacht or private jet. But at Co-op, they put it right back into the community. That's because they're owned by 120,000 everyday Edmontonians, not a corporation. Feel good about where your money goes when you shop Co-op. Visit in-store for details.
Listen on air, online, and on the Radio Player Canada app.
This is the Oilers Radio Network.
5th straight game in this Stanley Cup final. Florida has gotten the first goal. Remember, Edmonton scored 66 seconds into the final of Game 1 as Draisaitl scored to open Game 1 and close Game 1 with an overtime winner. But since then, Florida has won 3 of 4 and can close it out with a victory in Game 6 tonight. Draisaitl and McDavid pour back into the offensive zone. Perry went down. A battle in the corner. The Panthers bottled up. Reinhart can't get it out of the zone. He has the 1 goal here in Game 6 and now finds Verhaeghe for a clear up to center. And Verhaeghe will backhand it in deep. Oilers have now given up the first goal in 12 of their 22 Stanley Cup playoff games. Florida's allowed the first goal only 7 out of 23. Verhaeghe Into the offensive zone for Seth Jones. High slot shot, sailed wide, rebound Bouchard. Kind of whiffed on a clear, but then wrestled away by Brown from Marchand, and back to center. Mikkola gave it away. Marchand scored twice in Game 5. It's been a shaky start for him thus far in Game 6. Luostarinen able to pull his way in. Two hard-working customers, but Colson takes over from Luostarinen, and now has a head of steam up the left-hand side. He'll send one skipping behind the Florida net. Bobrovsky up the boards. Matthias Janmark from the corner tried to center. That was cleared, and Nurse was able to hold the zone. Nate Schmidt thought it exited, didn't get the call, and now Janmark given new life, ultimately gave it away. Then Lindell almost in turn gave it away, but Tkachuk from one knee was able to pop it back to center. Edmonton floods the zone, forces a bad Florida pass, and that's an icing call. Good pressure from Edmonton, and the Oilers continue to roll over their lines here, as now they'll go Nugent Hopkins, Kane, and Kapanen with 10:48 to go in the first period, and the Panthers leading by a count of 1-0.
And just an egregious sequence for Edmonton. A grenade thrown by Matthias Ekholm, who's had 4 tough periods here. Bouchard couldn't pick it up cleanly, and then a real good play by Reinhart, and the Oilers needed to be bailed out by Skinner, and he couldn't come up with a stop, and that's why they're up 1-0.
Nugent Hopkins wins the faceoff. Kapanen to Wallman. A shot sails high and wide on a screen. Bobrovsky, who never saw that puck, then chipped off the glass, held in by Kapanen. Wound it around, down low, Luostarinen. Trying to box out his man, fished it out of the corner. Unable to clear, however, was Matthew Tkachuk. Swept around, and you've got John Klingberg. Put it back behind the net, and it's Nugent Hopkins. Back to Klingberg. High slot. Shot coming. Wallman wide. Rebound. Bobrovsky. He'll pin it right side of the net. And now pushing and shoving. A couple of hands went right into the grill of Evander Kane. And then Tkachuk in turn gets a couple of straight rights from Kasperi Kapanen. And those two pawing at one another. And we're going to have some penalties called here. We're going to have a call. It's just whether it's one each way or just the Florida man. I know there's a penalty coming against Florida.
I think Kane's going off too here, Jock.
Yeah, so it's one each way. Sam Bennett, Evander Kane. They'll be sent off. Coincidentals at 9:45 of this first period. I imagine roughing minors coming from Jean Hebert.
Florida 9 minor penalty for roughing, 4-on-4.
Slashed in a rough, 4-on-4. Now, 4-on-4 hockey in the Stanley Cup playoffs, and for that matter this season, has favored Edmonton, while the Panthers have been outscored 2-0 in the playoffs. Oilers 2-1 in the postseason, 4-0 in the regular season. So this 4-on-4 figures to be in favor of Edmonton. Open ice for McDavid and Draisaitl, who are out there with two shooters, Wallman and Bouchard. Face-off, right side of Bobrovsky, but Florida's able to come up with a draw, and Ekblad will skate it out of the zone. Intercepted by Draisaitl. He'll play it back to Wallman, who trades with Bouchard as Edmonton resets in its own end. A lead pass to Connor McDavid. Scored his first goal of the series in Game 5. Hustling down the right-hand side. Forsling played it well. Panthers don't get it clear, though. Draisaitl took it away. Up to Wallman, high slot. Bouchard to Draisaitl, loading up right circle. One-timer, Bouchard sprawling save made by Bobrovsky. Panthers will come out of their own zone, and it's hoisted in, but turned over. A little mistake by Reinhart. Gave it right to Bouchard, and now Draisaitl swiftly advances through the neutral zone, hits the Florida line. Looks for a teammate. He's got a man. A shot. Kulak, and a save made. Bobrovsky, the rebound cleared to Forsling, and Florida wants a reload here with 9:20 to go in the first. Kulak had Bobrovsky going the other way.
Yeah, two good looks for Edmonton there, 4v4.
Mikkola conservatively nearly gave it away against Nugent Hopkins, and then Marchand spilled at center ice. Florida fans wanted a call, none forthcoming. More than 19,500 with a Stanley Cup in the building, seeing if the Panthers can do what they did last year and win the Cup on home ice. Lundell has it twisted away, and now you've got Kulak putting the brakes on for Edmonton. Right side, Connor Brown at the red line. 4-on-4 in effect for another half minute. 8:45 to go in the first period. Panthers lead at 1-0. Lundell bounces one through the neutral zone. It was Sam Reinhart with a steal. Jumped inside of Ekholm and beat Stuart Skinner. 1-0 Florida. Here's Klingberg. Stymied as he hit the Edmonton line. Rodriguez will take it behind his own net. Bobrovsky gave up just one goal in the clincher last year. That was Game 7. This is Game 6, where Edmonton has won 8 of 9 since Connor McDavid joined the hockey club. Adam Henrique battling for position as the teams come back to full strength. The lead pass for Bennett is off the mark. This is icing against the Florida Panthers with 8:08 to go in the first period.
Edmonton, other than one sequence, has had a really good first period, Jack.
And yet it's 1-0 Florida.
And
Chris Knobloch has talked about that. He doesn't feel like his club has played that badly 5-on-5 in the first period. They just haven't finished.
Yeah.
Draisaitl between McDavid and Corey Perry. Won the face-off cleanly. Bouchard guides to Ekholm. His shot deflected away by Bobrovsky, who has 3 shutouts in this postseason for Florida and 6 in his career. Oilers with a puck. Left point, it's Bouchard. Faked the pass, then tried to center, and Kulikov broke it up. He was lying prone on the ice. McDavid picked it up, and he was knocked off balance, and the Panthers will launch back through center. A steal by Verhaeghe on Bouchard. A wrist shot, and that caught a piece of Skinner, and then the outside of the left goalpost. That was a shaky-looking stop. Bouchard with an outlet. Florida able to break it up. No, Draisaitl with a steal. McDavid got inside of Reinhart and then jabbed away by Bobrovsky. He got his stick out there as McDavid tried to drag it across the blue paint. Ekblad up the middle. Heck of a play by Draisaitl. Wristed toward the net by Barkov, who doesn't have a goal in this series, and a save made by Stuart Skinner. Ekblad tried to nudge one in front. Henrique took it away from Barkov. Florida crowds the offensive zone. Up top, here's a shot coming, and that was deflected out of play. Tkachuk set it up for Reinhart, and he could not thread it through heavy traffic in front of the Edmonton net. So with the puck out of play and Florida waiting an ozone draw, we'll take a break from Amerant Bank Arena. Sam Reinhart's goal 4.5 minutes in is the difference right now. The Panthers looking to win the Stanley Cup. Lead Edmonton 1-0 in Game 6. This is the Stanley Cup Final at Ford Dealers NHL Hockey. The Oilers Radio Network.
All right, give me something big.
The Ford It's a Big Deal event is on.
Bigger.
Get a big truck and an even bigger deal.
Love it. Now the details.
Right now, lease a 2025 F-150 STX with the black appearance package from $220 bi-weekly at 0% APR for 24 months with $43.75 down. That's like $110 weekly.
Now bring it home.
Plus, there's a $750 bonus for eligible Ford owners. Hurry into your Alberta Ford store. Visit Ford.ca today.
Bloom Benefits offers amazing coverage that even the toughest hockey players can get behind. With excellent coverage, they offer things like massage. You want to go? Counseling services. Let's go! Dental coverage. That was not offside. And eye exams. With custom health coverage for any group of any size, Bloom Benefits make every team better, stronger, and healthier. Plans start from just $54 a month. Rethink your benefits today at bloombenefits.ca.
When the Oilers are on the ice, the big hits are a part of the game. But they shouldn't be a part of your drive. If you've been injured in a car collision, let James H. Brown & Associates and their over 200 years of combined injury law experience help you. Locally owned and proud Edmonton Oilers fans, James H. Brown & Associates is ready to support you with their unrivaled experience, unrivaled results, and unrivaled commitment. When accidents happen, head to jameshbrown.com.
All games, all season.
You're listening to the Oilers Radio Network.
1-0 Florida, 6:57 to play first period. Face off in the offensive zone, and the Panthers go with Tomas Nosek lining up opposite Adam Henrique. And off the draw, the puck squirts loose, and Connor Brown will clear up the right-hand side. Put just enough on it to trap Kulikov in the corner. Gadjevich, in turn, challenged by Kulak and Brown, and Nurse kept it alive at the point. A sharp angle shot by Brown missed everything, and that puck curled off the corner boards and all the way back through the neutral zone. A reset for Darnell Nurse. Sam Reinhart, the game's only goal, Game 6 of the Cup final, bumped in by Janmark. 1-0 Florida. Brad Marchand looking for his second Stanley Cup, won his first in his first full year in the National Hockey League with the Boston Bruins, a team that was down 3-2. That's the last team down 3-2 in a Stanley Cup final to win the Stanley Cup. Whistled up the right-hand side. A steal by Wallman. He'll chip it ahead for Evander Kane. Tried to jam it in deep. That was taken away. Down to one knee. And turning it over was Luos Torinen. Here's Nugent Hopkins scooping, centering, and Kapanen could not get a clean shot through. Out to Wallman. Florida's made some mistakes, especially from its own end. Here's Nugent Hopkins, a drive, and Bobrovsky did not catch that one cleanly. We saw the glove hand at times appear a bit shaky in the first two games, but Florida's able to clear the rebound up the right-hand side and a reset for Wallman as Edmonton changes it up.
This ice looks heavy. Pucks are bouncing all over the place. You get a chance to put it on the net, put it on the net. Can't pass it in.
McDavid, Draisaitl, and Perry back on it. We saw Edmonton with that shot-first mentality in the first few minutes. Draisaitl with a forecheck. Won a battle, got it back from Perry, out to Bouchard, and now a shot from Ekholm. No, he'll send a pass instead to McDavid behind the net, who's immediately checked off the puck, but Jones did not get it out. Florida continues to turn the puck over at times in their own zone. Barkov finally muscled it through Draisaitl, and Verhaeghe will shoot it in for the Panthers. Skinner to knock it down. He'll play it off the left-hand glass. Bounced off the skates of Perry. Sam Bennett through a crevice in the Oiler defense. Looks for a return pass. Ducks inside. A shot and save made. Stuart Skinner rebound Tkachuk. And that was blocked, as was the rebound attempt by Verhaeghe. Then Tkachuk won a battle. Centering pass. A quick dish. And from across, Bennett was trying to hit Verhaeghe, but it caught a skate. And now McDavid the other way. Ekblad back. Perry a shot. Fought off by Bobrovsky. And the rebound sifted to the corner. Here's a steal by Jeff Skinner. Fires a pass across to Kulak. And then left point, it's Nurse. Back to Skinner, a one-timer, and he smoked it wide. Rebound taken by Matthew Tkachuk and smacked back into the Florida bench by Darnell Nurse. I believe we'll have a neutral zone face-off when we come back. 4:07 to go in the first period. Some kind of save by Stuart Skinner on Sam Bennett and a couple of timely shot blocks. Meanwhile, at the other end, Bobrovsky hasn't made it look pretty, but he's bageled the Oilers through 16 minutes. It's 1-0 Florida in Game 6 of the Stanley Cup Final. The Oilers Radio Network.
When was the last time your electricity and natural gas provider made you feel like this? Low rates, no strings attached, year-round perks, and local energy experts who always have your back with Encore by Epcor. Find that carefree energy feeling at encore.epcor.com/carefree.
Customers are free to purchase natural gas or electricity services from a retailer of their choice. For a list of retailers, visit ucahelps.alberta.ca or call 310-4822 toll-free.
Do you have tickets to an upcoming event at Rogers Place that you can't attend? Donate your tickets to the Edmonton Oilers Community Foundation Seats for Kids program, presented by Eagle Builders. Seats for Kids provides unused game tickets for charities, allowing children and families to enjoy hockey at Rogers Place. And for many, a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. To be a part of the Seats for Kids program presented by Eagle Builders, please email edmonton@kidsupfront.com. That's edmonton@kidsupfront.com.
When the Oilers are on the ice, the big hits are a part of the game. But they shouldn't be a part of your drive. If you've been injured in a car collision, let James H. Brown & Associates and their over 200 years of combined injury law experience help you. Locally owned and proud Edmonton Oiler fans, James H. Brown & Associates is ready to support you with their unrivaled experience, unrivaled results, and unrivaled commitment. When accidents happen, head to jameshbrown.com.
Listen on air, online, and on the Radio Player Canada app.
This is the Oilers Radio Network.
4:07 to play, first period. Henrique centering Frederick and Skinner. Offensive zone draw for the Edmonton Oilers. Have outshot the Panthers 10-6, yet trail 1-0. Sam Reinhart unassisted, the only goal of the hockey game, 4.5 in. Off the draw, Jeff Skinner for the Oilers. Centering pass, and that eluded Adam Henrique. Appeared to be there, and the Panthers send it skipping back inside the Oiler blue line. Nurse on to Frederick. He got caught with a glancing blow from Sam Bennett, who was stoned by Stuart Skinner on the last sequence. Meanwhile, the Oilers able to jab it back in. Adam Henrique looking for a Stanley Cup in his third appearance in the final. Up the right-hand side, Rodriguez managed to boot it up the right-hand side. Marchand couldn't control. Edmonton will dump it back in. No icing. Oilers want a change in personnel as Forsling drifts back to make a play on it for the Panthers. Up to Luostarinen. He'll gain the line. Shot in by Lundell. Off to Brad Marchand. A centering pass. Redirected, and Wallman saved a goal. Skinner was sliding to the far post, and if Wallman was not there for that ricochet, it's probably 2-0 Florida. Played the puck with a high stick. A face-off will be in front of the Florida bench outside the blue line. And that would have been a fortuitous goal for Florida, but nevertheless a goal were it not for the presence of Wallman.
Yeah, Wallman made a good play there. But, Jack, when the Oilers have any kind of duress, they seem to be, it's the caliber of the opportunity that Florida's getting could be catastrophic for Edmonton. They've had like 4 little flurries in this game. The Oilers have been better, creating some chances themselves. They haven't had any puck luck around the net, and Florida's had a couple bounces and then one terrific goal.
Nosek won a face-off, carrying it in, A.J. Greer, a backhander to save, get a rebound, swatted away. Schmidt, one-timer fired wide. Kulikov missed the net, and Connor Brown able to clear. Kulikov denied a potential 2-on-1 by one-handing it over to Schmidt. He'll fire it back in. Podkolzin on the puck for Edmonton, whistled it off the backside of Janmark, and that puck eventually corralled one more time by Podkolzin. Klingberg, a high flip through the neutral zone, and Podkolzin will be first on it, pursued by Barkov. Behind the net, Connor Brown. Between the wickets, no one there. Kulikov with an easy clear for Florida, but he put too much on it, and that mistake leads to an icing call. And Edmonton with an offensive zone face-off and 2:21 remaining in this first period of Game 6 of the Stanley Cup Final. Edmonton took Game 1 4-3 in overtime. Florida bounced back, won it 5-4 in double OT in Game 2. Game 3 was a runaway for the Panthers, 6-1. Edmonton rallied from 3-0 down to win 5-4 in overtime in Game 4. And on Saturday night, back in the City of Champions, it was Florida 5, Edmonton 2. Brings us to Game 6 here in Sunrise. Game 7, if necessary, will be played Friday night back in Edmonton. Off the draw, Kapanen and Kane work in the right corner. Coming up on 2 minutes to play. Florida 1-0 lead. This man, Sam Reinhart, with the puck and with the game's only goal. Swatted away from Barkov. He'll find a bouncing puck at center. Kane and Nurse in a real dogfight at the red line. Panthers trying to muscle it back into Edmonton territory, and Podkolzin and Nugent-Hopkins won't let him. Finally carried forth by Reinhart. He got drilled by Kulak and never got a shot away. Darnell Nurse forked free. Kane battling on the half wall. Panthers maintain. From the point, it's lifted down low for Carter Verhaeghe. Centering pass, scooted through Barkov. Mikkola held it in. Fired on net, guided to the corner routinely by Skinner. Now Marchand with 1:20 to go. Verhaeghe to Seth Jones. Looks for a lane. Still looking. Dishing. Barkov, right circle. Backdoor to Marchand, and that was out of his reach. Kapanen was able to deflect back to center, and the Panthers must regroup at the red line. Carried in by Lundell. Shooting! And that missed the net. Short side on Stuart Skinner. Marchand with a casual giveaway, and Draisaitl was able to sneak it through Aaron Ekblad. Tried to force it up ice, but Lundell had recovered defensively. Then Bouchard tried to hit McDavid with a pass that was intercepted. Luostarinen, right point, waits, dishes. Bennett, shot, score! 2-0 Florida, Matthew Tkachuk. 46 seconds to go in the period, and Tkachuk has his 8th of the playoffs.
It's, you want to go best on best if you're Edmonton, and unfortunately for the Oilers, they got 2 goals against the McDavid, Draisaitl, Perry line. Is Tkachuk cuts to the middle of the ice, elevates the puck. Bouchard's the net front there, along with Lundell, and Edmonton's in a world of hurt again.
And Lundell did take away Skinner's eyes a bit there. Sent in deep by Tkachuk. What do we have off the draw? We have a beach ball on the ice. Panthers are a little frustrated. They had something else brewing. And a beach ball came tumbling onto the ice, which negated a potential scoring chance. Luos-Torinen waited, and then Tkachuk from the high slot able to bury it. Tell you what, that beach ball, I got to say, I mean, Florida was pouring right back in. Tkachuk now 3 goals, 3 assists in his last 4 games after a quiet start to the Stanley Cup final. And Luos-Torinen continues to contribute.
You said it in Game 3. Their guys that were cold started heating up, and it's been a different series since then.
Floated back the other way by Bouchard. But remember, Edmonton has rallied from a first period deficit before in this building, in this final. Bouchard to Draisaitl, and he'll fire it in deep. Panthers pinned in their own zone. Final 15 seconds of the period. And this puck is forced back through center. Lundell, by the way, with a second assist on the scoring play. Draisaitl had it swatted off his stick by Barkov, and Florida's 60 minutes to a Stanley Cup is down to 40. Tkachuk from Luos-Torinen and Lundell at 19-13. Reinhart unassisted at 4:36, and Florida with a 2-0 lead as we head to the dressing room. Bob, what's Chris Knobloch going to say? Once again, similar to Game 5, a promising start gives way to a multi-goal deficit, and this is the 6th consecutive game, meaning the entirety of the Stanley Cup final. Edmonton's given up at least 2 goals in the first period, no exception once again tonight.
And it's who got beat. Their top pairing, Ekholm and Bouchard. Ekholm throws a grenade up to Bouchard, and then Bouchard tries to get back in support. Reinhart makes a great play, beats Ekholm. Bouchard's stick gets a piece of the shot, and it deflects up and over glove side on Stu Skinner. And then the Oilers have McDavid and Draisaitl and Perry out again. And again, a giveaway just inside the blue line, and Tkachuk right down Main Street. Presence of mind. They had a net front on the play. That's the Oilers. Yet
there have been moments. So what do you say to kind of park this 20 and move forward?
I'll tell you what I liked. I liked the play of the other lines. Yeah. I liked the play of Henrique and Skinner and Frederick. I liked what we saw out of Nugent Hopkins and Kane and Kapanen.
I like Vasily Podkolzin's game thus far tonight.
And so they got to just stick with it. But, man, it is something just to watch. The Oilers can't get a break on Bobrovsky, even when shots are going at him.
Well, Kane and Nugent Hopkins early with Kane and Skinner with almost identical shots from the right face-off dot. And Bobrovsky was able to fight him off. And then it looked like, as you said, from that point forward, the grade A chances, whenever Edmonton made a mistake, all of a sudden, Florida was getting a point-blank look.
And you know what? Skinner made 2 great saves in that period. I'd have
Bennett for 1, and then
a block in front of another. But there were, I would say to you, the A-grade scoring chances in that period were probably, I know Edmonton outshot Florida 10-9. I got it at 5-2. And McDavid and Dries, they've done a good job on McDavid. They're sitting there picking him off after he makes a pass, interfering with him. We know there's not going to be any calls in Game 6 and Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Final. Completely plays into how Florida plays. That's why the Hyman loss, with how physical he is, big one for Edmonton. They don't have him. They're going to have to find a way to overcome it. Jack, the only way the Oilers are coming back tonight is if they get some secondary scoring from the line other than McDavid and Draisaitl. We know the pride those guys have with, and Skinner's going to have to lock it down the rest of the way. That's all there is to it. He's going to have to lock it down, and the Oilers are going to have to manage the puck better. Their D's going to have to manage the puck better, and they're going to have to. It can't all come from, if they're going to play Connor and Leon together with Perry, some other guys are going to pop. Now, that said, I didn't mind what we saw from a couple of those other lines, and we'll see how Edmonton responds here in period number 2.
Florida 2, Edmonton no score. 13 goals for the Panthers in the first period in this series alone. They've outscored Edmonton 25-16, meaning in the other 2 periods, the Oilers have outscored the Panthers. They basically sawed it off because it's 13-4, so it's essentially, a +1 for Edmonton outside of the first period, but it's hard to overlook the 13 goals, and it's certainly hard to overlook the fact that in the last 4 first periods of play, Edmonton has been outscored 9-0 by the Florida Panthers. It is tough to continue to dig their way out of holes. Now, the Oilers did it in Game 4, unable to do so in Game 5. If they don't do it in Game 6, they're going home and will join the 77-78 Bruins as the last teams to lose in back-to-back Stanley Cup finals. But a long way to go. Florida's got 40 minutes to negotiate, and again, the Panthers gave up a 3-goal lead in less than 15 minutes the last time they played in this building. Nevertheless, Game 6 of the Stanley Cup final, the scoreboard reads Florida 2, Edmonton 0. 20 minutes have been played. Next up, Bryn and Rob. This is Ford Dealers NHL Hockey, the Oilers Radio Network.
Hockey season is back. And so are the deals at Boston Pizza. Cheer on your team while ordering off their game day menu, or come in and see what great promotions they have going on. At Boston Pizza, they always have something craveable for you to enjoy. Boston Pizza, proud partner of the Edmonton Oilers. Cheers to a great hockey season.
It's our YEG with 880 Chad.
Join comedy giants John Mulaney, Martin Short, and more as they hit the stage at Kinsman Park for the Great Outdoors Comedy Festival, July 18th through the 20th. Tickets at greatoutdoorscomedyfestival.com. Then take in the legendary lineup as Rockin' Thunder hits the Exhibition Lands racetrack July 11th and 12th with Def Leppard, Weezer, and more. Hit up rockinthunderfest.com for tickets.
For details on these and more events, visit 880chad.com. At the intermission, brought to you by End of the Row Flooring Centers. Let's get flooring.
Bounced off the skates of Perry Sam Bennett through a crevice in the Oiler defense. Looks for a return pass. Ducks inside. A shot and save made. Stuart Skinner rebound Kachuk. And that was blocked, as was the rebound.
And that's our Highlight Zone, brought to you by Century Casinos. All in, all games, all season. Century Casinos with 3 great locations in Edmonton, St. Albert, and right next door to the Edmonton International Airport. Welcome to the Winner's Zone. Welcome to the first intermission. We're back at Rogers Place. It's the watch party. A little quiet in here, though, after 20 minutes of play as the Panthers are leading the Edmonton Oilers 2-0. Brent Griffiths and Rob Brown with you. Well, Brownie, that's kind of a bit of a clone of the last game. The Oilers came out pretty strong in the first 3 minutes, had their chances. Kane, Skinner, a few other guys, but sure enough, Florida get the first goal of this hockey game, and then the second.
Yeah, the effort level was there for the Oilers early. They had a couple sneaky shots that Bobrovsky was able to block and keep out, but gave him a little bit of trouble. The physicality, saw some big hits by Perry, by Leon. The Oilers came to play. But 2 huge self-inflicted wounds by the Oilers gave the Florida Panthers grade A scoring chances. The first goal, Ekholm has the puck on his stick. He's got time. He threw an absolute grenade to Evan Bouchard. The puck was, 2 feet in the air. Bouchard did a good job knocking it down. And then Bouchard not having enough urgency when the puck got to him. He knew there wasn't going to be a lot of time because he had to take extra time to get the puck to sit flat for him. So he's got to get it on and off his stick quickly because the Florida Panthers are aggressive. He turns it over, and then it's almost this reoccurring move that the Florida Panthers have, outside, inside, where they jump around a Oiler defenseman, and this time it's Reinhart. He's had 58 in the National Hockey League in one season. He can score. He's getting hot in this series. And a 1-on-2 on a play that the Oilers had full control of the puck. And all of a sudden, the Florida Panthers have a 1-0 lead. And the Oilers are sitting on the bench like, hey, we've been playing well. And then the second goal, Bryn, again, the Oilers turn the puck over. Bouchard turns it over at the blue line. Then the Oilers get back. They have 4 guys back in the zone. Everybody has their man, and Connor McDavid drifts towards a man, Bennett, who's already covered. And that, all of a sudden, Tkachuk, who comes in late, that's McDavid's man. He's wide open. And Bennett, easy pass, puts it on a stick, and Tkachuk has all the time in the world. Stu Skinner he can't see that puck. And what we've seen from Tkachuk in this series, some goals from distance with bodies in front of the net.
Yeah.
And the Edmonton Oilers, twice, big mistakes, end up in the back of their net.
Sam Reinhart's unassisted effort coming at 4:36 of that first period. And then 46 seconds remaining in the period. It was the Tkachuk goal to make it 2-0 Florida. The puck's bouncing an awful lot today. Ice is not great. Can't get too fancy here, Rob. Florida shooting the puck a lot. Now, the weird part is the Oilers are out shooting Florida 10-9, but I don't know if that's a really good example of whether or not the Oilers should be shooting more. But one thing's for sure, you can't make the pretty pass, and Florida's not trying that.
Well, the goal that Tkachuk scored, that was a nice play by Bennett, but all these players are capable of making good passes. Where I wouldn't be as worried in the offensive zone as I am in the defensive zone. And we saw the Florida Panthers a few times turn the puck over in their zone just by overpassing it. And the Oilers got a couple, longer extended times in the offensive zone. So to your point, defensively is where you certainly got to be very careful.
Right.
Because if a puck is bouncing, because a lot of the times nowadays, Bryn, you pass to a guy in front of your own net. Never did it in my era, but the players are so much better now. But if the puck's bouncing a bit, if it bounces over your stick, and we saw it twice happen in that period to the Panthers, it turns into a scoring chance. But for the Oilers, we saw it in Game 5. After 2 periods, 40 minutes, they had 11 shots on Bobrovsky. He is the best in the NHL. You need to shoot bulk on him. You need to get as many as you can get on him. We saw a couple almost get through him today. That's what the Oilers need to do. They can't look for passes, look for shots. And we saw the second goal by Tkachuk. Just bodies in front of Skinner. He can't see. You put a puck on net. The Oilers need to be a little uglier in the blue paint, trying to put pucks on net and look for rebounds, goals, tips, anything. Because right now, Bobrovsky looks locked in.
Rob, thanks. We'll talk to you coming up in the second intermission. Appreciate it. It is 2-0 Florida, leading the Edmonton Oilers after 1 period of play in Sunrise. It's 33 degrees there today, and the humidity level 85%. Sticky. We'll take a break. At the Intermission is brought to you by End of the Row Flooring Centers. Let's get flooring. This is your Ford Dealers NHL Hockey on the Oilers Radio Network.
RS Breakers and Controls, Canada's leader in new, used, tested, and obsolete circuit breakers, MCC buckets, bus plugs, and switches. They have everything you need to maintain your aging electrical infrastructure, ensuring it operates as good as new. Their 24/7 emergency response gets you back up and running quickly, saving valuable time and money. Minimal generators or modifications needed, and like-for-like replacements mean no special inspections. Don't replace. Repair your legacy equipment with RS. Visit rsbreakers.com.
Chemco is more than just a trusted local name. Chemco has been building industry across Canada for more than 60 years. From engineering through to commissioning, construction, maintenance, and beyond, Chemco's multidiscipline approach stands firmly on the belief that Chemco cares. It's not just what they do, it's how they do it. Visit Chemco.com and discover how they can support your project today. Chemco, proud fans of the Edmonton Oilers, serving and supporting communities across Canada for over 60 years.
Did you hear what happened to Rick while he was building his fence?
Yeah, he hit a natural gas line. They had to evacuate his entire neighborhood at dinner time, too. I bet he didn't make any new friends that day.
It cost him a ton to get the line repaired. I wonder why he didn't get his underground utilities marked.
Don't be that person. If you're digging on your property, request a locate for natural gas lines. It's free and can prevent serious injury or financial loss. And you won't upset the neighbors. Visit clickbeforeyoudig.com. A safety message brought to you by ATCO.
This is Global News at the first intermission. I'm Zach Ferguson. There's been a major thaw in relations between Canada and India. Both countries have agreed to designate new high commissioners and restore regular diplomatic services to citizens in both countries. The announcement follows Prime Minister Mark Carney and Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi's meeting on the sidelines of the G7 summit here in Alberta. And staying with the G7 for a moment, countries say they will work together to expand the use of artificial intelligence in the public sector. The idea is to improve the quality of government services and increase government efficiency. emergency. Edmonton City Councillors have taken the first steps to cut back the number of units allowed in some new housing builds. It's a response to complaints over large new developments in mature neighborhoods. Instead of 8 suites, some new builds may only be allowed to have 6. And there is a major collision on the Whitemud causing some delays around the city. Police say the crash is on Whitemud Drive eastbound at 111th Street, and drivers are being asked to find detours. I'm Zach Ferguson. Your next scheduled newscast will be at the second intermission on 880 CHED.
Canadians rely on technology to connect, educate, and protect us. The ability to power innovation will underpin global prosperity. We must seize this opportunity and build large-scale data centers that power world-changing innovation driven by AI. Data centers create jobs, attract global investment, and ensure we control our digital security, keeping us Canada strong. Our success is backed by our nation's energy resources and expertise. We need to boldly tap into Alberta's energy advantage. Learn more at capitalpower.com.
MIC is a leader in medical imaging and the official medical imaging provider to the Edmonton Oilers. Make MIC your choice. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, the game doesn't stop for injury. MIC's sports medicine imaging specialists can help you get back in the game with a timely and expert diagnosis. Go where the pros go. For a location near you, visit mic.ca.
Hey, Edmonton. Ever think about who gets your hard-earned money when you buy groceries or gas? For all you know, it could be buying a second yacht or private jet. But at Co-op, they put it right back into the community. That's because they're owned by 120,000 everyday Edmontonians, not a corporation. Feel good about where your money goes when you shop Co-op. Visit in-store for details.
The Intermission, brought to you by End of the Row Flooring Centers. Let's get flooring.
Back at the watch party at Rogers Place after one period of play, the Panthers lead the Edmonton Oilers 2-0. Let's take a look at the out-of-town scoreboard, brought to you by Pizza 73, the official pizza of the Edmonton Oilers. There's one game in the American Hockey League tonight. Yeah, the Calder Cup is continuing, and the series is all tied at 1. Abbotsford won the first game in double overtime 4-3 at Charlotte. Bounced back on Sunday, winning 3-2. So Game 3 goes tonight in Abbey. That one is 8 o'clock our time. We'll probably have more scores as we get a little later on in our broadcast. And Major Leagues of Baseball, Arizona on the road to take on the Blue Jays in Toronto. After 6 full innings, Arizona with a 3-2 lead on the Blue Jays. And don't forget the Elks home opener goes Thursday night at Commonwealth Stadium, a little CFL action. Montreal Alouettes are in town. Kickoff goes at 7. We'll have all the action for you right here on 880 CHED with the countdown to kickoff coming up at 5:30. Oilers, first period. The woes continue. They trail the Panthers 2-0 after 20 minutes of play. The out-of-town scoreboard is brought to you by Pizza 73, the official pizza of the Edmonton Oilers. Second period is coming up next. At the Intermission is brought to you by End of the Row Flooring Centers. Let's get flooring. This is your Ford dealers. NHL Hockey on the Oilers Radio Network.
At the Intermission has been brought to you by End of the Row Flooring Centers. Let's get flooring.
Hey, Paul Brandt here. You know, Alberta's a special place. From the Rockies to the Plains, it's a land of hard work and big dreams. If you're going to tackle it all, you need a truck that can keep up. That's why I can't say enough about my Ford F-150. It's more than a truck. It's a partner. Rugged toughness, serious capability, and smart features that make your life easier, like available Pro Power onboard. The Ford F-150. Get yours today at your Alberta Ford dealer and tell them PB sent you.
Pizza 73, the official pizza of your Edmonton Oilers. Loyal to the oil, in Edmonton we trust. Rising to the top like a pizza crust. Got the flavors to play, yeah. Cooking on ice. Hunger happens, gotta score a slice. Let's go Oilers, E-Town unite. Ice District to Jasper, downtown to White. Wearing orange and blue, game on the street. Make the right call, Pizza 73. Let's go Oilers. 737373, Pizza 73.
The same AI-powered technology that helps Oilers fans move through security efficiently at Rogers Place is also available for Edmonton area schools, hospitals, and workplaces. Evolve Technology, proud partner of the Edmonton Oilers and official security screening partner of Rogers Place, helps identify potential threats and create safe experiences at hockey games and wherever people gather. Visit Rogers Place to experience Evolve live or check out evolve.com for more information. That's evolv.com.
All games, all seasons. You're listening to the Oilers Radio Network.
It seems almost immaterial to bring this up, but if there ever truly was a gut check time, it's arrived for the Edmonton Oilers, who trail 2-0 and staring at elimination for the first time in this Stanley Cup playoff run. They trail the best-of-7 final 3-2. Florida trying to defeat Edmonton in back-to-back Cup finals. We haven't seen it since 77-78 when Montreal beat Boston both years and then beat him in the semis the next year. Bennett wins the face-off from Adam Henrique. We're underway in the second period. Henrique flanked by Frederick and Skinner, and defensively Nurse and Kulak start the second period for the Edmonton Oilers, who are moving right to left. They're in the white, Florida in the red. We have not had a penalty called tonight. Sam Bennett tried to put it in front. Jones crowding Adam Henrique, who is forced back, sends it over to Kulak on his offside, quickly returned, and a big hit on Henrique. Hard check levied by Evan Rodriguez. Flipped the other way by Mikkola after an Edmonton clear. That's settled by Nurse. Long change here in the second period. Edmonton won it on the long change in overtime in Game 4. Kapanen a shot as he hit the Florida line. Big rebound issued by Bobrovsky off the blocker. Kapanen was stripped, and Sam Reinhart will lug it back to center, trying to force it through heavy traffic, and it's taken by Rodriguez. From the right point, he'll wind it along for Barkov. Gives way to Reinhart. Checked by Nugent-Hopkins. Tried an interior play to Barkov. Nugent-Hopkins picked it off once again to Kapanen, fell down. Barkov tried to send it across to Reinhart, deflected to Kulikov, and he'll shoot it in behind Wallman. Barkov protecting the puck, wrestled down by Klingberg. No penalty called. Kapanen up the right-hand side. They're letting him play in Game 6. Wallman shoots it in. Here's Nate Schmidt off a dump in, tries to reverse up the left-hand side. Corey Perry cut it off. Perry out there with Connor McDavid bearing down on Reinhart. A safe lead pass for Verhaeghe, and he'll dump it in. McDavid and Draisaitl remain on a line together. Bouchard disrupted. Puck played to Ekholm by McDavid. Bouchard from center. He'll feed Perry. 10 goals, second only to Draisaitl on the Oilers in the Stanley Cup playoffs. In the corner, Bouchard trapped left side by Marchand. Swung it back to the point. Ekholm returned back behind the net. Ekblad with pressure on Draisaitl. A little reverse pop by Draisaitl. Now McDavid breaks loose to the net. Off the side of the net. He tried to center. Bobrovsky watches it cleared down the right-hand side. And that'll be an icing call, and Edmonton will get another ozone draw and a chance against this fatigued Florida line. 2:20 gone by, second period.
Well, Draisaitl made a great play, but Bobrovsky's got an active stick. Connor McDavid had a chance to swoop in, and Forsling got enough of him, and Connor tried to slide a pass through the seam down low to Perry. And Bob got a piece of it, maybe banked off the side of the net.
Yeah,
too.
That's where that one went. But earlier, as you pointed out, Bobrovsky with a poke check, and now off the draw. Perry a twisting shot. Bobrovsky the save. Forsling. Luostarinen tried to plow his way through, could not do it. Perry given second life. Marchand can't clear. Florida finally on the puck. It's Ekblad. Soft chip through the middle and sent toward the Edmonton blue line by Luostarinen. Turned over. McDavid breaks in to the net. Perry denied. Bobrovsky, a flailing left pad save, and the Panthers clear. Luostarinen with Ekholm back. Fires, and Ekholm deflects it up into the mesh. Bobrovsky with a goal-saving stop, and he's going to hear it from the crowd of 19.5.
Well, he came into the game with a .931 save percentage, 5-on-5. And he's already got 12 saves in this game on 12 shots.
That was a terrific save. McDavid slithered it across, and actually, Perry missed the net. That glanced off the outside of the right goal post. On further review, having said that, Bobrovsky stretched the pad out, so it had been on net, he would have stopped it.
He's got the great feet, right? You got to go. That's why you got to go high on him.
Here's Nosek back behind her, glove side, and we saw that work to Edmonton's favor earlier in the series. A.J. Greer trying to bank it off the back of the net against Adam Henry. Guided it out to Mikkola. Swung back down low. Jonah Gadjevich, who was stopped by Skinner. Good save earlier in this hockey game on Gadjevich by Skinner. Backhands it out to Mikkola. And Florida's fourth line works the perimeter against Edmonton. Kulak able to seal off Greer, disrupt the cycle, and allow Nurse to clear up the right-hand side. Connor Brown hits Enrique. Shot and a save. Bobrovsky, no rebound. 2-0 the score remains in favor of Florida. 3.5 minutes having elapsed in this second period. First period goals by Reinhart unassisted at 4.5 minutes. And then Matthew Tkachuk in the final minute of the opening period with his third of the series, eighth of the playoffs, to give Florida its current 2-0 advantage. Nugent Hopkins back out there with Kane and Kapanen. Nugent Hopkins, a 20-point playoff campaign to this juncture, despite clearly being banged up earlier in this series. Missed a number of skates, including this morning. Won a face-off cleanly against Rodriguez. Kapanen. Wallman threw it across. Klingberg's shot, and that was deflected. Panthers had a chance to clear, didn't get it done. Steal by Rodriguez. He'll lug it to center. Hit the Edmonton line. Fight off pressure. A shot along the ice, and a save made by Stuart Skinner, and the rebound rolled back through the middle.
They make Skinner work, don't they? Every chance they get, they're going to put it on goal.
Low to the feet.
Yep.
Rodriguez ahead. Sam Bennett waits to the net. Backhand wraparound. Couple of stuffs at it. Schmidt fires, and that was a blocker save for Stuart Skinner. Bennett denied by Stuart Skinner a couple of times in this game. Panthers work it from the point back down low. And it's a trip-up situation as Verhaeghe got buried by Wallman. Kapanen will weave his way through the neutral zone. Fired in from center. Blockered away by Bobrovsky. Rebound Seth Jones. A lazy attempt at a clear, and Kane picked it off and will force Jones to try again. This time up to Reinhart. Ekholm draped all over him. Reinhart flings it, and a big hop at the Edmonton blue line. That puck, as Bob mentioned earlier, bouncing around, ricocheted through Draisaitl. Reinhart, four-player scrum, jabbed at, and now recovered by Bouchard at his own blue line. Fires a strike to Draisaitl, left point. Draisaitl kicks it back. Ekholm walking the line to Bouchard. Slap pass down low. That fooled everyone. Somehow Skinner able to come up with it. Skinner getting elevated with Draisaitl and McDavid, and now a fierce battle in the corner. Mikkola with a puck lodged underneath him. It was carved out of there by Barkov, and finally slammed off the boards and out by Sam Reinhart. Picked up by Bouchard. We talked about Skinner having a good first period, and he's been elevated with McDavid and Draisaitl, at least for this shift. Send in deep. Draisaitl will boot it down low against Mikkola, working him over in conjunction with McDavid. Mikkola came back into the play. McDavid kicked it up top. Here's a shot by Kulak and a save made by Sergei Bobrovsky. But Colson was trying to crowd the net as he had come on. Spilled in deep by Florida's Eetu Luostarinen. Skinner has to quickly back off before handing to Kulak. Up to Podkolzin. From center ice, he'll flip it into the opposite corner. Marchand run off the puck by Podkolzin. He's had a tough game 6. Brown back to the point. Settled by Nurse. No. Came outside the zone. Ryan Gibbons was on it. And it's offside. Whistled against Edmonton with 6 minutes having elapsed in this second period. We'll take time out. The Oilers have outshot the Florida Panthers 15-12 in game 6. But it's the defending Stanley Cup champions with a 2-0 lead. And now just 34 minutes away from a back-to-back Stanley Cup. This is Ford Dealers NHL Hockey. the Oilers Radio Network.
Score big with the unmatched purity of Clearwater Vodka, the perfect companion for Oilers fans. Crafted with the pristine waters of Alberta, it's a sip of local excellence. Clearwater Vodka, where the spirit of the game meets true Alberta quality. Must be 18 plus. Please drink responsibly.
Did you know the Brick is proudly Canadian-owned and operated? We started right here in Canada over 50 years ago. Now, our 5,000 team members are proud to be your neighbor in more than 200 communities across Canada. And we support all Canadians with a growing selection of quality-made Canadian products and manufacturers. Nobody knows more about furnishing Canadian homes at the guaranteed lowest price than us. The Brick, saving you more. Get ready to live sky high. Sky Signature Suites offers remarkable units for rent featuring sophisticated floor plans, designer finishes, and breathtaking views. Experience resort-like amenities including a full-time concierge, yoga and fitness studios, golf simulator, plus indoor and outdoor lounges for you to live your best life. Visit SkySignatureSuites.com and make your home high above the ordinary.
Score big with the unmatched purity of Clearwater Vodka, the perfect companion for Oilers fans. Crafted with the pristine waters of Alberta, it's a sip of local excellence. Clearwater Vodka, where the spirit of the game meets true Alberta quality. Must be 18 plus. Please drink responsibly.
Listen on air, online, and on the Radio Player Canada app.
This is the Oilers Radio Network.
Florida 2, Edmonton 0. Game 6 of the Stanley Cup Final from Sunrise, Florida. Jack Michaels, Bob Stauffer with you in our Legacy Heating and Cooling broadcast booth. The Oilers trail this hockey game by a count of 2-0. Reinhart and Tkachuk, first period goals for Florida. Face-off win for Adam Henrique, who now has the puck on his backhand, only to be drawn into an offside situation. Will once again do it in the neutral zone as the Oilers somehow look to get back in this hockey game, down 2 with their season on the line for the first time. Oilers 50-50. Want to remind everyone the current jackpot is nearly $10 million. The playoff bonus jackpot is almost $12 million. And of course, your early bird pricing includes cash prizes of $1,000 and $15,000 tonight. Matthew Tkachuk bottled up, turned it over. Here's Jeff Skinner behind the Florida net. He's had some good looks in this series, still looking for his first goal. Skinner turned it over. Rodriguez couldn't clear through Frederick. Another good shift for this line, but ultimately the Panthers are going to be able to pounce on a loose puck, and it's pitchforked out by Matthew Tkachuk. Sam Bennett left point, shadowed by Nurse. He'll put it around the boards for Evan Rodriguez. He got belted from behind by Frederick, and now on his horse is Brett Kulak. He'll send it along the plexi. That's snatched away by Mikkola. Tried to split defending McDavid and Draisaitl. Did so up to Verhaeghe. Tried to go backdoor, and Perry made a terrific play to deny Sam Reinhart what would have been a certain scoring chance. Barkov shakes free of Connor McDavid. Tried to center. Too much traffic. Draisaitl broke it up. Intended for Reinhart. Barkov gets it back. Fresh off the bench. A blast by Forsling and a glove save made by Stuart Skinner. 2-0 Florida. 12:47 to go, second period. Bob, one of the keys I talked about at the start of the game. Edmonton's elite has to be better than Florida's. Thus far, through nearly half the game, Bob, I think you'd agree with me, they have not.
The Oilers had 3 good shifts to start the game and then moved to McDavid, Draisaitl, and Perry and gave up a goal. And then, unfortunately, Connor in low support defensively on the second goal against. He'll tell you he should have been there. Oilers have played even when McDavid and Draisaitl haven't been on the ice, and they've had some chances in and around the net.
Adam Henrique back on the ice, this time with Kane and Kapanen to take a face-off to the right of Stuart Skinner.
I think he's out there to take the draw, Jack.
He does. Barkov is able to win it. Puck pumped down low, and then a big hit on Barkov by Evan Bouchard. Swung back the other way, plucked off the left half boards by Forsling. He'll tap it down low. Brad Marchand on the puck for Florida. Scored 2 goals in Game 5, and he has 6 in the series. First player to hit 6 in a Stanley Cup Final series since Esa Tikin in 1988. Marchand Up the right-hand side, Lundell shot tipped on, and a save made by Stuart Skinner. Rebound held in by Ekblad. He'll swing it around the boards. Lou Osterinen, big hit. Lundell tried to curl it inside, and then Lou Osterinen misfired on a play intended for Gustav Forsling. Edmonton closed off the slot there. Otherwise, Florida would have had a point-blank look. Matthew Tkachuk spilled it back to the red, where it's carried in by Connor McDavid. To Leon Draisaitl in front of the Oiler bench. Banked a pass off the boards. Ekholm could not field it cleanly, and Evan Rodriguez up to Sam Bennett, and it's wired in from center ice. Skinner can't get a stick on it. Neither can Rodriguez. It's Matthew Tkachuk. He fell down. Loose puck on the half wall. The puck is underneath the posterior of Matthew Tkachuk and is whistled down with 11:35 to go in the second period. And even there, just the gamesmanship of Tkachuk to recognize with McDavid and Draisaitl on the ice. Go ahead and pretend you're a hen if you need to for right now. Keep that puck underneath. Play for a whistle, a different shift, a different look.
Yeah, the Oilers did create a couple early opportunities. McDavid down low twice from the short side. And unfortunately, Perry couldn't pick it up cleanly on the second chance to get it within one.
Draisaitl won the face-off almost too cleanly. Skinner slides it over to Kulak. Forechecking is Carter Verhaeghe as Kulak brings it out of the zone. Panthers look to close quickly. Disrupted by McDavid. Sitting loose at the blue line and snatched away by Verhaeghe. He'll chip it across the Edmonton blue. And then Mikkola, after a moment's notice, will backhand it in deep. Florida's got a tag back onside. Panthers will elect to change instead as it's Bouchard and Kulak leading the Oilers up ice, but Draisaitl was offside. He had kind of flowed in from the right wing. The puck sent bouncing free. Draisaitl, a quartet of Florida defenders collapse on him, and the Panthers are able to nudge it right back towards center. McDavid will change, blasted in by Kulak on net, gloved by Bobrovsky for Seth Jones, and then nudged ahead by Lundell. Peeling back to gain possession is John Klingberg. It's been a clean sheet thus far for Bobrovsky. Frederick, centering pass, one-timer to save Bobrovsky. What a setup, and Jeff Skinner was robbed again. The Oilers moved it swiftly, and a real good scoring chance denied by the efforts of Sergei Bobrovsky. Quick pass, and Skinner did not hesitate, and Bobrovsky was able to choke off the play at the near post.
Well, when the Oilers signed Jeff Skinner in the offseason tonight, his performance tonight was what they were looking for, and really, it's got to be stated, Jack, from January on, Jeff Skinner was pretty good. 6-time 30-goal scorer in his career, and he picked that one up clean, and that was a great save by Bobrovsky.
Set up from Nugent Hopkins, and he's made a couple of good ones on Skinner against Evander Kane to open the game as well. Nugent Hopkins out there with Kane and Skinner as Chris Knobloch continues to give Skinner some top six looks. Earlier in this period, he was out there with McDavid and Draisaitl, and Jeff Skinner battling. Again, it's his first Stanley Cup playoff appearance, and the Panthers will break out. 3-on-3. Bennett crisscrossing across the line. Fire shot tipped in front of Stuart Skinner. He juggles and then holds as Wallman has the front of the net well protected against Nate Schmidt, who had slid inside and was looking to knock home any potential lingering rebound opportunity. 10:13 to go, second period. 2-0 Florida.
But there's the difference. Every chance they get, they're putting it on the net. Like the Oilers are getting shots from their blue line, or from their defensemen outside the blue line a couple here in this period. But the Oilers forwards are trying to work cycles in down low. And Florida's creating chaos on this bad ice by putting it to the net.
Florida's 30 minutes away from a repeat Stanley Cup. Oilers were beaten in Game 7, and this man, Matthias Janmark, was the only man to beat Sergei Bobrovsky on that night last June 24th. But here he's cut off at the Florida line, and it's shoveled back inside the Edmonton blue. Janmark tied up with Gadjevich, who breaks free for a moment. Then Janmark got back on the puck, forced Forsling to put it off the curved glass and down low for Greer, who's hung up with Brett Kulak. Nosek came over to dislodge, and now a hard rim up the left-hand side by Jake Wallman. No icing. You've got Kulikov on the puck with Janmark on him. Gadjevich put it off the left glass and safely back inside the Edmonton line. Florida will make the long change. Nurse A lead pass, no icing. It was tipped. Nate Schmidt on his backhand in close quarters against Connor Brown and Vasily Podkolzin. McDavid forced it free for Ekholm. Shot Bouchard, and that just missed. Rebound Verhaeghe. So McDavid getting a shift with Podkolzin and Brown, and now Draisaitl steps onto the ice. Here's Bouchard from distance, a save up near the clavicle made by Sergei Bobrovsky as Podkolzin giving Kulikov the business with 9:04 to go in the second period. Bobrovsky with 6 career playoff shutouts and 60 wins. Remember, before he became a Panther, he was 17-29 in the playoffs. Since then, 43-21. And now he and the Florida Panthers are 29 minutes away from another Stanley Cup. Edmonton will have a lot to say before this night is complete. It's Game 6 of the Stanley Cup Final. 2-0 Florida on the Oilers Radio Network.
At Sobeys and Safeway Liquor, they recommend pairing locally distilled spirits and their ice-cold beer selection with... And Oilers win! Sobeys and Safeway Liquor, proud partners and fans of the Edmonton Oilers. Please enjoy responsibly.
Hey folks, Paul Brandt here. Around these parts, we work hard, play hard, and we demand the best. Sometimes you need a truck that's a cut above. The Ford Super Duty. Tough enough for any job with the style and luxury you deserve. It's as powerful as it is refined, with cutting-edge features that make every drive a pleasure. In short, this ain't your everyday pickup. The Ford Super Duty. Drive the finest truck Alberta has to offer today at your Alberta Ford dealer. And tell them PB sent you.
Steelhaus Triton, 2 legendary oilfield services brands, 1 powerful partnership. Rooted in innovation, reliability, and a steadfast commitment to excellence, Steelhaus is proudly 100% Canadian-owned and locally manufactured. With over 15 field service locations across the prairies and up to the Rockies, they deliver world-class energy solutions with unmatched responsiveness, helping their customers thrive in the most demanding environments. Steelhaus Triton, engineered for performance, built in Canada. Visit steelhausinc.com for more information.
At Sobeys and Safeway Liquor, they recommend pairing locally distilled spirits and their ice-cold beer selection with... And Oilers win! Sobeys and Safeway Liquor, proud partners and fans of the Edmonton Oilers. Please enjoy responsibly.
All games, all season.
You're listening to the Oilers Radio Network.
No reason to hold back now. McDavid, Draisaitl, and Perry on for Edmonton. Ekholm and Bouchard for an ozone draw. Face-off, win, Barkov. We're going to do it again. Jack Michaels, Bob Stauffer with you. High atop our Legacy Heating and Cooling broadcast booth, stationed on Press Row at Amerant Bank Arena. Holders of roughly 19,600 fans demanding to see a certain chalice known as Lord Stanley. The Stanley Cup is in the building. Barkov wins a face-off against Draisaitl. McDavid and Ekblad grapple for puck possession. The number 1 overall picks in the 15 and 14 drafts, respectively. And on this occasion, Draisaitl, the third pick in 14, got slashed, couldn't hold the puck in, and Florida jams it in deep. We've seen, for the most part, them put the whistles away. Angled toward Bobrovsky. He played ahead of Connor McDavid back towards center. Corey Perry will scoop it right back in. Remember, in Game 7, Edmonton got 1 power play, Florida got 2. Now, it's Game 6 of the final this year, but we have not seen a power play assessed. And a clear by the Panthers. Bouchard on. Did Perry get a piece of that one? He did. Draisaitl thunders in against Forsling. McDavid close by, trying to work over Barkov. Draisaitl kept it alive for Ekholm. Left point. He'll move it to Bouchard. Slide step to his left. Lets one fly, and Bobrovsky was in some entanglements, but the puck flew wide off the dasher boards, and here comes Sam Reinhart. Florida in across the line. Reinhart looks for a trailer. Tough pass. Forsling got a shot off that was blocked. Rebound Barkov. The Florida captain turning, centering off the stick of Skinner and batted out of midair right into the glove of the aforementioned Skinner. 7:48 to go, second period. Edmonton has the edge on the shot clock, 19-15, but Florida's up on the scoreboard 2-0 thanks to first period goals by Reinhart early and Tkachuk late.
Oilers have played okay here, Jack. But Florida's been the more opportunistic team, and Bobrovsky's had all the answers in between the pipes for the Panthers.
Lundell between Luostarinen and Marchand. Henrique beaten off the draw by Lundell. Mikkola. Marchand, snapshot, and that's held by Skinner, who has been perfect on 7 shots here in this second period. Edmonton a slight edge on the shot clock in each period. 10-9 in the first, 9-7 thus far in the second. But the story has been the Panthers being able to get that first goal, get the lead. They're 12-3 with the first goal this year in the playoffs, 31-6 since Paul Maurice took over.
That's all, eh?
Here's Luostarinen. Back to the point, Mikkola. Mikkola slashed it free. Now, one of those losses earlier in this series. So, again, a long way from being over. Marchand sent it tumbling into the zone. Nearly half a hockey game remains. Mikkola, left point shot, and that deflected into the corner. 7 1/4 remaining second period. Centering past Marchand, ushered on to Evan Rodriguez, left wing. Against Klingberg, he shoots into the paraphernalia of Stuart Skinner. Skinner was wondering where the face-off was. It came late. And in the meantime, Rodriguez got bulldogged just above the blue paint as Wallman trying to clear him out. And Wallman saying Rodriguez is jabbing his stick into Skinner's midsection.
We may have a penalty-free game. Like we've had it, coincidental minors. There may not be a power play in this game tonight.
Yeah, that would be correct.
Yes.
I apologize if I said otherwise earlier, but yes, we have not had a power play assessed.
No, I screwed it up, not you. So don't worry, I'll be the first to point out if you screw it up.
Here's Bennett against Ryan Nugent-Hopkins between Kane and Kapanen. Face off to Skinner's right-hand side. Bennett wins the draw. Tkachuk to Bennett. One-timer blocked. Rebound high slot. Kulikov just lays it into the corner. Kulak was able to snatch it away from Matthew Tkachuk, and here come the Oilers. Lead pass bumped the other way. Florida may have numbers. Bennett weaving his way in. Tried to hit the trailer Tkachuk, who took his eye off it and had to flick it back behind the net for Rodriguez. The Oilers bust up the cycle. Schmidt turns and has his shot ricocheted off of Rodriguez's stick right to Bennett. He'll throw it around the boards for Nate Schmidt. Quick pass, Tkachuk sent one deliberately off the end boards. Didn't get the bounce he wanted to Verhaeghe. Nurse didn't get it out, however. Kulikov plowing forward behind the net for Bennett, and then Nurse able to take over with an outlet for Evander Kane, whose second effort is a wedge shot into the Florida zone. Reinhart skating away from Nugent-Hopkins, but Kane following up will keep the puck deep in the zone and finishes check on Ekblad. Big swing by Reinhart, did not get it out. Kulikov trapped in the corner. A backhand toss up the right-hand side with perfect touch on it, and Bouchard will gather. That could have been delay of game, icing, could have been a lot of things.
That's the boys they have.
Here's a handoff by Bouchard to Connor McDavid. Can't work his way through Florida's multi-layered defense, and it's put in deep by Verhaeghe. The Oilers look to break out again. This time McDavid does get it done. Bouchard looking to advance. Punched forward. Bobrovsky directing traffic. Big hit on Ekblad. Thrown by Podkolzin. Florida may be guilty of an icing here as Bouchard got inside position on Luostarinen. Reinhart iced the puck with 5:27 to go in the second period. And the Oilers will keep their top players on. Florida looking a bit beleaguered. Is Reinhart going to sell the fact he needs a new twig? What's happening here?
I guess so.
Yeah, I mean, he's off.
But you got to win. You got to win a draw here if you're Leon to maximize the potential off this ozone face-off with them a little bit fatigued.
Against Barkov. Draisaitl digging in. McDavid in the slot. And now there's a double check on who's on the ice here from the officials, and this works out to Florida's favor.
Buys them
an extra 20
Reinhart's
seconds.
Going to be coming back.
I would think so, Bob.
They knew exactly what they were doing.
I mean, Reinhardt's paused, then skated right off.
No, I guess not. Nope, there's the switch.
Yeah, there's the switch. I mean,
that's a wily, greasy veteran move there.
I mean, that was as obvious as they come. Reinhardt just disappeared, and now he's called back to replace Brad Marchand. So Draisaitl against Barkov. Tie up off the draw. Puck worked free in the high slot and jabbed out. Good play. Knocking it out of the zone, Luostarinen. Reinhart will give it to him. And now Florida will get the change it wanted. Marchand heading for the net. Scooted around Ekholm. Put it up the boards looking for Ekblad. Cut off by McDavid. And a clear by Ekholm. No, held in high slot momentarily by Forsling. And Draisaitl able to weave his way through center and then knocked off the puck. Here's Lundell on the counterattack. Couldn't handle a tough pass from Luostarinen. Draisaitl banged into by Brad Marchand. Bouchard with a lead pass out of the reach of Ekholm, but the Florida Panthers promptly turn it right back over.
Leon just got absolutely, the Oilers bench is livid.
Been a lot of talking in this series. Two teams that are playing their 13th game against one another with the highest stakes. Mikkola snatched away. Oilers force a turnover. Woolman open, shoots, and that was blocked. Rebound ricochets in front off of Mikkola and stays out as well. Edmonton has played Florida 7 times this year and not beaten them in regulation once. 2 overtime wins, both Draisaitl. Tkachuk finally sends a wobbler through the neutral zone. Grabbed by Klingberg at his own blue line with 4 minutes to go in the second period. 2-0 Woolman lobs it in. Bobrovsky will squeeze and freeze. 4 minutes to play. We haven't had a shot on net in the last 5 or 6 minutes. That works to the favor of the team that currently holds the Stanley Cup and is trying to win it for a second consecutive year. The Florida Panthers 2, the Edmonton Oilers no score. This is Game 6 of the Stanley Cup Final and 4 dealers NHL Hockey. The Oilers Radio Network.
Today you can score at A&W. Enjoy a juicy grass-fed beef mama burger and fries for only $5. Available in-store or on the A&W mobile app at participating locations in Oil Country. This fantastic deal is available all day today at A&W.
Did you know the RCMP polices over 99% of Alberta's landscape? From the oil sands to the Rockies to the prairies, the RCMP has a province covered. Providing policing services to more than 1,700 communities and with over 150 career specializations, the Alberta RCMP has something to fit everyone's goals and lifestyles. Visit rcmpcareers.ca and take the next step towards your career with the Alberta RCMP. A message from the Government of Canada.
Ready to score big on your outdoor space? It's game time with Park Landscaping. Transform your backyard into a winning arena with Park Landscaping's expert team. From design to maintenance of lush lawns and state-of-the-art synthetic turf to inviting pools and captivating water features, Park Landscaping will make your outdoor space the MVP. Don't sit on the sidelines. Get in the game with Park Landscaping. Call 780-486-2744 today or email info@parklandscaping.ca.
Today you can score at A&W. Enjoy a juicy grass-fed beef mama burger and fries for only $5. Available in-store or on the A&W mobile app at participating locations in Oil Country. This fantastic deal is available all day today at A&W.
Listen on air, online, and on the Radio Player Canada app.
This is the Oilers Radio Network.
Ryan Nugent-Hopkins centering Kane and Kapanen. If Florida should hold this lead, the Panthers will break the Stanley Cup final record for most minutes with a lead. And that's held by the 87 Oilers, which is curious, of course, because they were extended to 7 games by Philadelphia, who mounted not 1 but 2, but 3 multi-goal comebacks in that final. And yet the Oilers prevailed. Florida led for 200 minutes coming in, and they've led since 4.5 minutes had elapsed in this game. Rodriguez into the offensive zone, had his shot blocked, shoveled down the ice by Kane on net. No icing against Edmonton. Oilers will change. And on the ice comes Adam Henrique up the right-hand side. 3:20 to go in the second period. Florida 23 minutes away from winning back-to-back cups at the expense of the Edmonton Oilers. Kulikov shovels down low for Hagee. Tried to center. That was picked off. 2-0 Florida. Kulak, his outlet deflected by Verhaeghe onto Jeff Skinner. Tough pass. Skinner nowhere to move it. And now Florida's back on the puck in the offensive zone. Barkov, give and go, gets it back, and then could not drag it around Stuart Skinner. He does not have a goal in this series. and does not have a goal in the last 7 playoff games he's played. Verhaeghe up top. Schmidt over to Kulikov. Juggled momentarily. Then back to Barkov in the corner. Little spin move on Henrique. He'll send it to Verhaeghe. Edmonton a bit in the spin cycle right now. Verhaeghe is shot off a Skinner. Juicy rebound back towards score. 3-0 Florida. Sam Reinhart, second goal of the game, 9th of the playoffs, 5th of the series, and maybe that shot is one that Skinner would have been better off trying to hold on to. Instead, the Panthers now have a 3-goal lead.
Well, that is not going to appease the Stuart Skinner haters out there. This long, extended ozone cycle from Florida. I don't know if Stuart picked it up late. I think you got to catch that in that situation. Maybe he couldn't. I don't know.
Just to give his team a breather, maybe. Instead, backdoor and off the skates of Sam Reinhart, set up by Sasha Barkov. 3-0 Florida. And the Panthers can smell it now. Ekblad lifts it behind the Oiler defense. McDavid will track it for Jake Wollman. Lead pass, Corey Perry. Edmonton would dearly love to get on the board here for some juice heading into the final period. Perry to McDavid. And his pass shoveled through the slot area. They've gone to McDavid, Brown, and Perry here with this combination, in Edmonton lingering a shade offside. Brown had come on to replace Perry. And now some jawing between Draisaitl and Marchand. 2:02 to play in the second period. Faceoff will come outside the zone. Florida 3 goals on 18 shots tonight. Edmonton none on 20 against Sergei Bobrovsky, who in his 15th year, and after twice winning the Vezina on also-ran type of teams, having a shoddy playoff record, and entering the 2023 playoffs as the backup to a guy named Alex Lyon for Florida, has now led the Panthers to 3 straight cup finals and is 22 minutes away from hoisting his second cup. Here's Matthias Janmark off the draw in the neutral zone, spilled it on net, and Bobrovsky able to pick it up. 3-0 Florida, minute 47 to go in the second period. And Bob, Edmonton might need some help to come back in this game. They might need a misplay by a Bobrovsky or a rare error from Florida's deadly system.
Yeah, there's no question. Because Bobrovsky looks locked in.
There's still a lot of time left. Minute 47 to go. We're still in the second period. But Edmonton will have to duplicate what it did in Game 4 when it rallied from 3-0 down in this building. Bennett wins the faceoff. Mikkel up the left-hand side. That's going to be an icing call, and that will afford Edmonton at least the opportunity, if they want to load up McDavid and Draisaitl here for an ozone draw. Doesn't look like they will, at least at this stage, with 101 seconds remaining in the period. Nugent-Hopkins against Rodriguez on a strong side, who won the faceoff. Seth Jones will rag the puck and then dish off to Bennett, who got a piece of it, but that's another icing call. And now Edmonton will get its top players. So back-to-back mistakes.
Problem is they're not getting any shots right now, Jack. Florida's got them completely boxed outside, and the Oilers aren't getting any second chance opportunities around the net. Think of that last sequence for the Florida 3-0 goal. Over a minute of ozone time. And Bobrovsky isn't misplaying pucks like that.
But on the other hand, I told you Edmonton might need some help. Florida just gave it to them with a couple of icing calls. And now Draisaitl out there with still a healthy minute 33 to go in the period with McDavid and Kane. Florida had a chance to clear. Rodriguez did. It's across the Edmonton line. Kulak sends it up the left-hand side. Draisaitl hit the line, twisted off his stick, forced back to center, and scooped in safely by Tkachuk. Florida will complete a change. As Skinner leaves it for Evan Bouchard, we come up on 1 minute to play in period 2. 3-0 our score in Game 6. The lead belongs to Florida. Draisaitl fires it in. Verhaeghe run into the puck, shaken free. Draisaitl wins the battle along the end boards. Ekblad able to regain. McDavid comes over, forces it free for Kulak. Bouchard a shot. That was tipped and spun awkwardly into the corner. Big ricochet. A lot of English on that puck, and Barkov will try to lodge it. It's guided up to Reinhart, who has 2 goals in this game. Remember, he scored the game winner in Game 7 in this building about a year ago. Reinhart takes a pass from Verhaeghe. Wound up behind the net, just ran out of real estate, off to Forsling at the left point, and now forced around the boards. Florida playing its 406th game in the last 4 years. Edmonton its 403rd. The team's exhausted. Kane guilty of an icing here with 15 seconds to go on the period. Florida will get an ozone draw, already armed with a 3-0 lead in Game 6. And this crowd of 19,500 plus can feel it. Oilers at this point just a need to get out of the period, a final reload, a final gear up, 20 minutes to live. Draisaitl on the face-off against Anton Lundell. 3-0 Florida. Reinhart a pair, Tkachuk the other goal. 2 goals late in each of the first 2 periods for the Panthers, strengthening their lead. Off the draw, Seth Jones looks for a lane. It's not there. Over to Mikkola. He'll conservatively just lay it down low. Cycle disrupted by Kulak. Draisaitl will lay it high off the plexi. Batted out of mirror by Kane. Luostarinen fires down low, approaching the horn. And one last centering pass is picked off by Evan Bouchard. But thus far, Sergei Bobrovsky has a 20-save shutout going. And the Oilers, who trailed 2-0 after 20, are now down 3-0 after 40. A juicy rebound issued by Skinner off a shot from Verhaeghe. And ultimately, Barkov was able to bank it off his line mate, Sam Reinhart, who scores basically a Zach Hyman-type goal, Bob.
Well, there, you just said something right there. Think about Reinhart getting hurt in the Carolina series. Came out for a game. People were nervous down here. He came back pretty quickly. At one point, they had Reinhart and Mikkola out of the lineup. Mikkola, 2 pretty good players for them. And at the end of the day, this is a big, heavy team that's healthy. We know Tkachuk's playing through something. Reinhart is too. But the fact that Hyman got knocked out against a team this good, Edmonton needed all their horses going. And the Oilers have played okay tonight, but they haven't played good enough to have a lead.
Well, and one of the keys I talked about...
The A-grade scoring opportunities in the first period, I think we're probably realistically 4-1 for Florida. Like, it's just, when the Oilers make a mistake, it becomes catastrophic. And part of that is you got to get a couple of huge stops. And the other guy's stopping everything. Even when he's fighting it, he's stopping it.
David Draisaitl together or apart for the third period? Because, as you pointed out, twice they've been on the ice for a goal against tonight.
Yeah. I think you got to put them together and try to create. I really do.
So leave them together.
And I think Nugent Hopkins has been fine with Keane.
Yes.
And Kapanen, though I think Kapanen got a little bit banged up there. It looks like he got picked off, and so they've kind of rotated some other players through there. Jeff Skinner again. There's going to be some folks sitting there going.
Best save Bobrovsky's made all night was off the feed from Nugent Hopkins.
Yeah, I mean, the Oilers haven't had a power play. McDavid had a couple chances for low 2-on-1s, but they were at acute angles, didn't shoot on either. Probably made the right play in both situations. The pass, the ice isn't great here. the Oilers are, Jack, they're in a tough spot heading to the third period. It's that simple.
No power plays in the game whatsoever. Just a coincidental situation with Bennett and Kane in the first. Otherwise, we played 5-on-5 hockey, which theoretically would be at Edmonton's strength. We talked about 5-on-5 play in the Stanley Cup playoffs. The Oilers are a gaudy plus 12. That was coming into the game. Now they're a plus 9, and the Florida Panthers are plus 26 5-on-5. So they can play it any which way you want it. They've been excellent on special teams in the playoffs, and tonight they've outdueled Edmonton 5-on-5, and they've gotten a clean sheet from their goaltender Sergei Bobrovsky, who's closing in on his 4th shutout of the playoffs and his 7th in his career. Paul Maurice, the veteran coach with 1,001 victories, hope he's 20 minutes away from 1,002. And the extra 2 would be Stanley Cup clinching victories on home ice against Edmonton. Last year in Game 7 and this year in Game 6. The Oilers have to summon their best 20 minutes of the season. They'll look to regroup and come out for the third period. But when they do, they'll be trailing 3-0 with their season on the line. It's Florida behind 2 goals from Sam Reinhart and 1 from Matthew Tkachuk and 20 saves on 20 shots from Sergei Bobrovsky, 20 minutes away from a repeat. It's also going to be Rob and Bryn next. This is Four Dealers NHL Hockey and the Stanley Cup Final. The Oilers Radio Network.
Bored of your current flooring? With stiff competition in the hard surfaces market, there's never been a better time to get a little less rigid in our pricing. Wood, you like a great deal? We have solid savings. Yeah, I don't know how to work laminate or vinyl plank into this, but you get the point. Try them all in our visualizer at endoftheroll.com to see it in your home. The Hard Surfaces event on now at End of the Roll Flooring Centers.
12870 St. Albert Trail and now open at 580 Parsons Road Southwest.
Stay connected with your community and enjoy the latest updates and exclusive access to concerts and events by becoming an 880 Ched Insider. Don't miss out on a single moment. Sign up now at 880ched.com and click on Ched Insider Newsletter to become a vital part of Edmonton's premier news and talk community. 880 Ched, Edmonton's news, today's talk, where Edmonton stays informed and entertained today and every day. The Intermission, brought to you by End of the Roll Flooring Centers. Let's get flooring.
Dealing back to game possession is John Klingberg. It's been a clean sheet thus far for Bobrovsky. Frederick, centering pass, one-timer to save Bobrovsky. What a setup, and Jeff Skinner was robbed again. The Oilers moved it swiftly, and a real good scoring chance denied.
And that's our Highlight Zone, brought to you by Century Casinos. All in, all games, all season. Century Casinos with 3 great locations in Edmonton, St. Albert, and next to the Edmonton International Airport. Welcome to the Winner's Zone. Welcome to the second intermission. We're at the watch party at Rogers Place. It's Bryn Griffiths along with Rob Brown. Well, after 40 minutes of play, it's 3-0 Panthers, and they are now 20 minutes away from clinching their second straight Stanley Cup. Rob, it's not like the Oilers have played poorly, but Florida's just playing a little bit better.
Yeah, and capitalizing on the big mistakes. We talked about in the first period, both goals that Florida scored were on big mistakes. And then the second period was more or less a wash. Both teams had some really good looks. Both goaltenders made some saves. And you're thinking, if the Oilers can get into the third within 2, you feel confident that this is a team. They score 1, they pull their goalie, they can score 2 goals in a period. But all of a sudden, the Oilers got caught out tired. And the Barkov, Reinhart, Verhaeghe line had an extended shift in the offensive zone. And you saw why Barkov is one of the best in the world. He made a big mistake by Jeff Skinner. Jeff Skinner, I think, has had an excellent hockey game.
Yep.
But he had the puck at the blue line. He had a tired group on defensively. He doesn't get the puck out. And 6 seconds later, it's in the back of the net off a wonderful feed from Barkov to Reinhart, who Reinhart had a slow start to the series. He came back from injury, I believe in the Carolina series, but he has gotten hot later in this series, and he is a proven goal scorer. Barkov to Reinhart, and that third goal could become very, very costly for an Oiler team trying to get this series back to Edmonton.
You know, when we take a look back at this series, and I'm not really sure when we'll be doing that, but we'll see. The way the Panthers have been able to just plug up the Oilers, it's been very frustrating to watch, struggling to get out of their own zone. And I don't know, is that hard work that they're doing? Is it the system that they've got going? And then once they get into that cycle, it's almost impossible to bust out of it. And it's where the third goal came in that period.
Well, first, they're a great team.
Yes.
This is 3 straight finals. They're Stanley Cup champions. They're 20 minutes away from possibly going back-to-back. They are built incredibly well. And we keep going on. They have three first lines. That because, as we talked, John Shannon talked before the game, they don't have to extend the minutes of these players because they don't have guys playing 26, 27 minutes. They're all right around, anywhere from, Marchand was fantastic last game. He only played 13 and a half minutes. So they don't extend their minutes. So they can roll out their 3 lines over and over again. Their system is good, but you have to have buy-in from players and you have to have players that are capable of doing it. And they have all of that. But just one more thing on that goal, Bryn, and you're a team fighting for your playoff life. We've talked about goaltending in this series. That play where I believe it was Verhaeghe just turned. I'm not positive. I apologize if it's the wrong guy, but he was high on the boards. He just threw the puck at net, and Stuart Skinner just casually punched the puck forward. That's one he's got to bring into his body. He punches it forward right to Barkov. Now the Oilers are in trouble. Barkov all the time in the world. He fakes the shot. He's got Reinhart backdoor, but that's one where the Oilers needed a rest. They needed a whistle. They needed a change. And Skinner kept the play alive. And, it could possibly be a back-breaking goal, that third goal. So when the Oilers needed a save or a whistle, Stuart Skinner wasn't able to give him one on that.
I'm not always a believer in watching a bench to see what the response is, but it just seems like you look at the Oilers bench through this period, and it almost seems like they're struggling to get over this, that they don't know what they've got to do next. It's, I understand the situation, but it's got to be so frustrating for all of them, and in particular Draisaitl and McDavid, who were both on the ice through the first 2 periods up to about 16 minutes each. So I don't know where they go in the next period, other than the fact that this team hasn't quit all season long. They've come back a million times through the playoff run. So I guess we're going to see what they've got in the first 10 minutes and then go from there.
Well, for me, the Oilers are the best 6-on-5 team in the National Hockey League and one of the best ever, I would imagine. If they get to 4 or 5 minutes within 2 goals, the game isn't over. You'll see Chris Knobloch pull a goalie early, and you can go 6-on-5. And here's something that might sound silly right now too, Bryn. If the Oilers get a mismatch, if there's a fourth line for the Florida Panthers is on the ice and there's an icing, or if they get a really, really tired Florida Panther group on an icing, I would not, and I don't care what time it is in the third period, I would not be afraid to pull my goalie if you've got a fresh Connor and Leon. If there's 16 minutes to go in the game and you get a icing and a tired group against you, I'd go 6-on-5. They're 3 goals down, and right now 5-on-5, they're not scoring it. I would not be afraid to pull my goalie early in the third period in the right circumstances to try to somehow find a little bit of magic offensively.
Well, there's a Brownie hot take for you in the second intermission. Thanks, Rob. We'll talk to you coming up at the conclusion of the third period. We're going to take a break and come back with more. The Panthers lead the Oilers 3-0 after 2 periods of play. At the intermission is brought to you by End of the Roll Flooring Centers. Let's get flooring. This is your Ford Dealers NHL Hockey on the Oilers Radio Network.
When it comes to your new home, nothing should stop you from getting exactly what you want. Coventry Homes puts your needs front and center. They won't dig past your questions about customization, and making changes won't get you sent to the penalty box. With their customizable designs and flexible options, your game-changing home is within reach. Score big with flexibility by Coventry Homes, the official builder of the Edmonton Oilers.
Did you know that there are 9 Napa Auto Parts stores serving the greater Edmonton area and have been doing so for more than 50 years? Since Napa first opened in Edmonton, the community has grown and vehicles have changed, but you can always trust Napa Auto Parts to provide you with the expert know-how and the best vehicle parts. And if that isn't enough, every time you visit a Napa Auto Parts store when you present your AMA card, you receive an additional 10% discount on all retail parts and accessories. Visit your local Napa Auto Parts store for more offers and expert know-how. Napa Auto Parts is a proud fan of the Edmonton Oilers.
Legacy Heating and Cooling Jingle auditions take one for Ryan Nugent-Hopkins and Zach Hyman. Are you ready, guys?
We were born ready. Heck yes, Nuge. Drop the beat. Call Legacy. Call Legacy. We freaking killed it, Nuge. That's what I'm talking about, Zachary Martin Hyman.
Nice guys. We're going to sell a lot of air conditioners.
Hey, doesn't Legacy offer no payments and no interest for a year on those?
Yeah, well, thanks for the assist on the copy points there, Nuge.
It's just what I do.
Legacy Heating and Cooling.
This is Global News at the second intermission. I'm Zach Ferguson. A woman is dead following a tragic crash on the White Mud this afternoon. Police say at around 1:30, a van stopped on the shoulder of the freeway near 111th Street. The driver of the van got out of the vehicle and was struck and killed by a semi-truck. The eastbound lanes of the White Mud were completely closed while the major collisions unit was investigating the crash. There's been a major thaw in relations between Canada and India. Both countries have agreed to designate new high commissioners and restore regular diplomatic services to citizens in both countries. The announcement follows Prime Minister Mark Carney and Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi's meeting on the sidelines of the G7 summit here in Alberta. And staying with the G7 for a moment, countries say they're going to work together to expand the use of artificial intelligence in the public sector. The idea is to improve the quality of government services and increase government efficiency. Edmonton city councillors have taken the first steps to cut back the number of units allowed in some new housing builds. It is a response to complaints over large new developments in mature neighborhoods. Instead of 8 suites, some new builds may only be allowed to have 6. I'm Zach Ferguson. Your next scheduled newscast will be after the game on 880 CHED.
Oilers playoff ticket giveaways are on at the Canadian Brewhouse. Plus $1 off tankards of Molson Canadian and Coors Light during every game. The Canadian Brewhouse. Our house is your house.
Rogers is Canada's largest and most reliable 5G network. We're made for Oilers fans. You can stream Leon's scoring in Leduc. Watch Tide tie things up in Tofield. Unbelievable! Or check out Connor doing Connor things in Kalmar. And even watch Stewart steal the show while you're in Sedalia. Try saying that 3 times fast. Rogers, proud partner and fan of your Edmonton Oilers.
Did you know the RCMP polices over 99% of Alberta's landscape? From the oil sands to the Rockies to the prairies, the RCMP has a province covered. Providing policing services to more than 1,700 communities and with over 150 career specializations, the Alberta RCMP has something to fit everyone's goals and lifestyles. Visit rcmpcareers.ca and take the next step towards your career with the Alberta RCMP. A message from the Government of Canada.
Patio season is on at the Canadian Brewhouse. Grab your crew, sip something cold, and hang out on the best patio in town. The Canadian Brewhouse. Our house is your house.
At the intermission, brought to you by End of the Row Flooring Centers. Let's get flooring.
Panthers lead the Oilers 3-0 after 2 periods of play. Let's take a look at the out-of-town scoreboard brought to you by Pizza 73, the official pizza of the Edmonton Oilers. You know, you talk about the Panthers. Their farm team is in the Calder Cup final in the American Hockey League. The series is all tied at 1, but the Charlotte Checkers tonight are playing Game 3 of the series against the Canucks in Abbotsford. They are early in the first period. There is no score in that one, but this series is all tied up at 1. We'll see what happens coming up a little bit later through the evening. We'll be watching that one very, very carefully. On a town scoreboard brought to you by Pizza 73, the official pizza of the Edmonton Oilers. The third period, and who knows what's coming up after that. We'll see, but we'll be watching carefully. It's coming up soon. At the intermission is brought to you by End of the Row Flooring Centers. Let's get flooring. This is your Ford Dealers NHL Hockey on the Oilers Radio Network.
At the intermission has been brought to you by End of the Row Flooring Centers. Let's get flooring.
Did you hear what happened to Rick while he was building his fence?
Yeah, he hit a natural gas line. They had to evacuate his entire neighborhood. At dinner time, too. I bet he didn't make any new friends that day.
It cost him a ton to get the line repaired. I wonder why he didn't get his underground utilities marked.
Don't be that person. If you're digging on your property, request a locate for natural gas lines. It's free and can prevent serious injury or financial loss. And you won't upset the neighbors. Visit clickbeforeyoudig.com. A safety message brought to you by ATCO.
You can't win it all without a great team, and Portage College is ready to see you through your educational journey. With certificates, diplomas, apprenticeships, degree pathways, and micro-credentials, Portage College has options for everyone. Take advantage of their small class sizes and true community feel, and you'll have all the support you need to complete your education and take your next step on the way to greatness. Visit portagecollege.ca to learn more about Portage College's programs and services. Portage College, it's about you.
MIC is a leader in medical imaging and the official medical imaging provider to the Edmonton Oilers. Make MIC your choice. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, the game doesn't stop for injury. MIC's sports medicine imaging specialists can help you get back in the game with a timely and expert diagnosis. Go where the pros go. For a location near you, visit mic.ca.
All games, all season.
You're listening to the Oilers Radio Network.
106 years ago, the Seattle Metropolitans led 3-0 entering the final period against the Montreal Canadiens with a chance to close out the series. The Canadiens rallied to win 4-3 in OT. Now, for the first time since 1919, Edmonton hopes history can strike twice. They've got 20 minutes to live, and they'll start the period with McDavid, Draisaitl, and Perry. Ekholm and Bouchard defensively, 5-on-5 hockey. Ekholm tries to jam it up the middle. That was broken up and flipped the other way by Sam Reinhart, who has 2 goals for Florida tonight. 3-0 Panthers. Verhaeghe off that dump in, circling the Edmonton net with a crowd, knowing that the Panthers are less than 20 minutes away from a repeat Stanley Cup. Florida, dogfight behind the net. Bouchard comes away with a puck. Perry will lift it ahead. Here's Draisaitl skating into it for Connor McDavid. Dishing off, and Ekholm had his stick lifted as he looked to tee up a one-timer. A reminder, we have not had a power play assessed in this game.
We're not going to get one.
Barkov will shoot it in.
I can tell you that right now. We're not going to get one.
Bouchard, lofted puck through the middle, settled by Seth Jones. Nico Mikkola from the red line. Shots from any and every angle have to come for the Edmonton Oilers, who've outshot the Panthers 20-18 through 2. But Sergei Bobrovsky closing in on a shutout and a potential second straight Stanley Cup. Evander Kane takes an outlet pass, weaves his way up the right-hand side. Checked by Jones off the puck. Here's Kapanen to the middle, a blast. Wallman, and a save made by Bobrovsky. Rebound, Nugent Hopkins across. Wallman again, teeing up, and this time his one-timer was blocked. Kane taken down behind the net. Nugent Hopkins over the net, off the glove of Bobrovsky, and fielded by Kapanen. He puts the brakes on against Lundell. Mikkola defending. Hard pass, and Klingberg will take it out of the zone. Edmonton must regroup. Jake Wallman with 18:20 to play, potentially in Edmonton's season. Bennett crowding Klingberg and forcing a return offering to Wallman. Oilers in the white, Panthers in the red. Attacking from left to right, it's Janmark who bangs it in deep. Out there with Skinner and Brown. The puck comes free. Matthew Tkachuk, the man with the other goal tonight for Florida. Up to Bennett. Wrist shot off the rush, and that was sent wide. Rebound, Tkachuk controlling against Nurse. Bennett inside. Reinhart Rodriguez could not get a shot away. And it's Jeff Skinner ahead for Janmark. He was blasted against the inboards. Hard rim by Florida, not out. Kulak from a sharp angle. Shot ricocheted off Rodriguez, around the boards and out. Darnell Nurse, 17.5 to play for the Oilers, who trail 3-0. He'll chip and charge in against Gustav Forsling. Ekblad on the puck. Soft chip up to Barkov. Took the hit to make the play. Back through center, and Reinhart will get it in deep for Florida. Score remains 3-0 Panthers. Ekholm with Verhaeghe tying him up behind the net. Forced it back to Bouchard. Barkov, hard-working. Verhaeghe, Barkov to the front of the net. Couldn't get a shot away. Dropped it instead to Forsling, who waits left point. Walks the line. Looks for a lane. Takes a shot that's deflected. Barkov, the captain, against Ekholm. Looks for a seam pass that's intercepted by Bouchard. And now on to McDavid. And here come the Oilers. McDavid left to right. Drop pass looking for Draisaitl. Faking the shot. Now dishing for McDavid off his skates. McDavid circles, centers, and that was through everyone, but Draisaitl able to keep it in. Bouchard, one time to pass over to McDavid, right circle. Back to Ekholm. Now Bouchard, one-timer. Sprawling left pad save made by Bobrovsky. Panthers can't get it clear. Edmonton feeling it. It's Bouchard to McDavid, a shot, and that was elevated up and out of play. 16:20 to go in the third. Once again, Bobrovsky with some timely stops to start the third. It's been a continual theme here as this series has moved along, and tonight Bobrovsky has been perfect on 23 shots.
Well, he's done a great job tracking pucks because Bouchard got a long-range bomber that he found with his left pad. We talked about how good his feet are.
And that went off a body in front, and Bobrovsky still was able to react and make the save.
Stopping everything for Florida.
So now you've got Henrique, Frederick, and Kapanen. Klingberg and Wallman out. And off the draw, the Panthers are able to direct a puck back behind their own net. Mikkola to escape up the right-hand side. And now digging in Marchand. They'll wave off icing. Klingberg coughed it up. Marchand down the wall. Had it stripped by Adam Henrique. 3-0 Florida as it's advanced through to Frederick. Cross-ice pass, a big hit on Klingberg. Lead pass, Luos to Renan, and they rule that he touched the puck. So Skinner will leave it for Jake Wallman. Florida line change, Edmonton left to right. Gadjevich as the fourth line has come on for the Panthers. Shoveled in deep. Nate Schmidt on the puck for Florida. And the Panthers will escape. Schmidt works his way up the left-hand side. Kapanen tried to reverse back behind his own net. Greer instead did that for Kulikov right in front of the Oiler bench. Shoveled down low. Kulak banged it up the left-hand side. Henrique to Frederick, cut off and went down. Nate Schmidt will shoot it in from center ice. Skinner can't get there. Nosek is able to trap the puck in the offensive zone for the Panthers. Nurse up to Jeff Skinner, and he'll clear, looking for Nugent Hopkins out of his reach. Nugent Hopkins, what a battle, a backhander, and that flipped off the side of the net. He actually put it over the shoulder of Bobrovsky, and now Gadjevich will clear. And that puck was tipped by an Oilers stick. The fourth line will change. Here's Jeff Skinner for Edmonton, around one man, a second man, and through the neutral zone, plowing his way toward the net before Sam Bennett is able to flick it into the corner. Matthew Tkachuk, Bennett from Rodriguez. Did not get it out initially. The second push by Rodriguez did chase Edmonton back into its own zone. Bouchard left it for Ekholm across to Rodriguez. He thunders into Bouchard. It's Mikkola back behind for Rodriguez on his backhand. No shot. Instead just leaves it behind the net for an off-balance Sam Bennett, who comes in with 6 goals and 8 points in his last 6 games. He's been held off the score sheet tonight, but it's still Florida 3-0. Draisaitl and McDavid through the neutral zone. McDavid looks, dishes, return pass from Perry, and it's chopped wide by McDavid. Panthers had a chance to clear, didn't get it done. Jones failed. Barkov against McDavid. Pass tipped right back to McDavid. He'll throw it behind the net for Leon Draisaitl. Tried to name-plane it off Bobrovsky. An attempted clear by Reinhart failed. And then Mikkola didn't get it out of the zone. Barkov takes over for Florida. On his backhand, he'll send a lob wedge through the neutral zone. Verhaeghe got it ahead of Bouchard, spun, couldn't get it off, wrist shot, and that stayed out. Lundell trying to maybe end the competitive phase of this series, missed the net. But Colson the other way, a hard wrist shot that's stopped by Bobrovsky. Florida back on the rebound. Lundell to Marchand over the line, Marchand to the net, and again curled it wide. Rebound Lundell. Back-to-back misses for Florida when maybe a goal would have wrapped it up. 13 minutes to go in the hockey game. Florida 3, Edmonton no score. Game 6 of the Stanley Cup Final with the Panthers leading 3-2 and looking to close it out. Luos Turinen checked off the puck by Wallman, but Colson throws his body into it. Forsling a drive, and that was blocked. Rebound comes right side for Connor Brown. He'll deliver a soft chip back to center. Panthers turn it back to the Oiler line. Klingberg cut off by Forsling. He'll drive it in deep. Evander Kane on the puck. chants of "We want the cup" reverberating throughout the building. Kulak could not work his way through Forsling. Chipped ahead for Bennett. He's stymied by Nugent Hopkins. Edmonton back on top of the puck. Darnell Nurse in his own zone. The outlet pass to Evander Kane. Right wing to Kapanen. He'll cut to his left over the line. Kapanen dishes off. Reinhart there to pick it off. He's got 2 Florida goals tonight, and he'll usher it to the far side where Nate Schmidt's the only man there. Bennett doesn't clear. Kane a shot that ended up wide. Glanced off the dasher boards left for Reinhart, and now Kulikov of Florida. Backhanded up by Nate Schmidt, and Barkov spills it to the Edmonton blue line. Kulak under control. A dozen minutes to live for the Edmonton Oilers, who trail 3-0 in Game 6. Leon Draisaitl gets around Sam Reinhart. Beautiful pass. McDavid knocked off kilter to the net. A diving Mikkola. And now Perry to Ekholm across to Bouchard. A blast! And that was blocked. Rebound Barkov. Spooned it back through the neutral zone. McDavid thought he was tripped.
So
here's Ekholm back in his own zone. For Edmonton, we have not had a power play called in this game. Draisaitl to the red line, and he'll slam it in deep. The Panthers looking for back-to-back cups. McDavid bursts in behind the net, looking to dish. Finally off to Bouchard. Shot! And that pinballed wide. Rebound Perry. Big swing. Can't make contact. Jones with a clear. Back to center. The Oilers will look to change. No, McDavid stayed on. Couldn't get around Jones, but now a delayed offside call whistled against Edmonton. Furious with an on-call on McDavid. Ekholm angry as well. 11-11. Make a wish, Edmontonians. The Oilers have that much potentially left in their season unless they can summon the greatest comeback of all time in the Stanley Cup Final. Down 3 with 11-11 to play. This is Game 6 of the Stanley Cup Final in Ford Dealers NHL Hockey on the Oilers Radio Network.
Hey, Edmonton. Big moves need big talent, and AMJ is your go-to partner. For all local residential and commercial relocations, AMJ delivers a smooth, stress-free experience. AMJ, your team for every move. Contact your local branch today.
Hey, Paul Brandt here. Big skies, rugged landscapes. Now that's Alberta in a nutshell. And if you're looking for an SUV that can keep up with this place, check out the Ford Bronco. Built for those who crave adventure, with serious off-road capability and style to spare. Whether you're hitting the mountain trails or exploring the back roads, it's the perfect ride for those who want to experience everything this province has to offer. The Ford Bronco. Adventure awaits at your Alberta Ford dealer. And tell them PB sent you.
Experience the exciting casino action at 3 Century Casino locations. Edmonton, St. Albert, and Century Mile. Dine at one of their amazing restaurants featuring daily specials. Take in the ultimate game day experience at the all-new Selly Sports Bar and Lounge. Check out the best in live entertainment at any amazing location. Plus, enjoy a great selection of casino gaming options and off-track betting. Feel the thrill of live horse racing at Century Mile Racetrack. Don't miss a second of the action at Century Casino.
Hey, Edmonton. Big moves need big talent, and AMJ is your go-to partner. For all local residential and commercial relocations, AMJ delivers a smooth, stress-free experience. AMJ, your team for every move. Contact your local branch today. Listen on air, online, and on the Radio Player Canada app.
This is the Oilers Radio Network.
11 minutes to play. Nugent Hopkins centers Kane and Kapanen for a center ice draw that Florida controls. Mikkola will shoot it in. Crowd in an uproar. Here's a chance for Rodriguez. Behind the net, Matthew Tkachuk. Inside to Bennett. Telegraphed the pass. Broken up by Kapanen. Held in by Mikkola of Florida. Rodriguez on the right half boards. Put it behind the net for Sam Bennett. He got twisted up with Klingberg, who escapes and darts through the middle of the ice for Kapanen. Right wing, he'll shoot it toward Bobrovsky. Guided to the corner. Sergei Bobrovsky with a shutout brewing. 10.5 to play in the third period. Florida 3. Edmonton no score in Game 6. Tkachuk and Reinhart in the first period. Reinhart in the second. It's Klingberg. Drag move. One-timer Wallman and a kick save made by Bobrovsky, who was beaten on a similar play back in Game 4. That was when Edmonton rallied from 3-0 down to win it in overtime. So they've already done it in this final, in this building. But now 10 minutes are left. McDavid and Draisaitl. McDavid dashing down the right-hand side. Might have been tripped on the last last shift he took. This time rubbed out along the end boards. Draisaitl twisted up with Ekblad. Forsling trying to pry it loose. It's forced back to the point. Chip past Bouchard. Here's Verhaeghe busting in. Shooting, and a save made by Stuart Skinner. He'll freeze it with 9:47 to go in the third period. We'll take timeout. It's the kind of opportunity that no doubt Florida will enjoy at various points over the final 9 minutes and 47 seconds as Edmonton, desperate for offense, will continue to push. Game 6 of the Stanley Cup Final. Florida 3, Edmonton no score. And you're listening to it live on the Oilers Radio Network.
Did you know the Brick is proudly Canadian-owned and operated? We started right here in Canada over 50 years ago. Now, our 5,000 team members are proud to be your neighbor in more than 200 communities across Canada. And we support all Canadians with a growing selection of quality-made Canadian products and manufacturers. Nobody knows more about furnishing Canadian homes at the guaranteed lowest price than us. The Brick, saving you more.
Pizza 73, the official pizza of your Edmonton Oilers. Loyal to the oil, in Edmonton we trust. Rising to the top like a pizza crust. Got the flavors to play, yeah. Cooking on ice. Hunger happens, gotta score a slice. Let's go Oilers, E-Town unite. Ice District to Jasper, downtown to White. Wearing orange and blue, game on the street. Make the right call, Pizza 73. Let's go Oilers. 737373, Pizza 73.
The Edmonton Oilers Community Foundation 50-50, presented by Rogers, is back and bigger than ever. The largest 50-50 in sports offers early bird draws, bonus raffles, and a main jackpot, which is growing by the second. With over $100 million invested across oil country, your support directly helps kids, families, and communities in need. Maybe you'll be our next winner. Get your tickets right now at EdmontonOilers.com and help make oil country a better place.
AGLC license number 696879.
All games, all seasons. You're listening to the Oilers Radio Network.
Oilers have outshot the Florida Panthers 6-1 in the first half of the third period. That's the good news. The bad news is Sergei Bobrovsky still has a shutout going. 26 stops, as despite being outshot 26-19, Florida owns a 3-0 lead. 2 goals by Sam Reinhart, 1 by Matthew Tkachuk. Face off to the right of Stuart Skinner, who just stopped his first shot of the period by Carter Verhaeghe. Off a partial break. Off the draw, flicked back in by Nate Schmidt. Oilers under control. Brett Kulak on the puck. Adam Henrique on the ice along with Janmark and Connor Brown, a line that was so good in last year's Stanley Cup Final. Here's Henrique, a shot, and that's rocketed out of play by the stick of A.J. Greer. And now as Edmonton's top players return to the ice, Florida head coach Paul Maurice will pull his fourth line off with 9:26 left in potentially Edmonton season. Down 3 at the home of the defending Stanley Cup champion Florida Panthers, who beat them in 7 in this building 358 days ago to end a 7-game final. Off the draw, chipped off the glass and out. Here's Ekholm, up the gut for Corey Perry. From the left-hand side, he'll shoot it in. Weird hop off the stanchion. Bobrovsky recovers off to Ekblad, flipped off the glass, and the ricochet played by Verhaeghe back toward the Edmonton line. Draisaitl backhands it over to Bouchard. Sent in by Perry. Once again, Florida hemmed in. Ekblad protecting against McDavid. Off to Luostarinen, and Reinhart reaches as far as center. Verhaeghe jumps on and has it stripped by Corey Perry. Now Bouchard will back off for Edmonton. Up the gut with a fluttering wedge that's knocked down by Forsling. The puck was bouncing on him. Edmonton will make a line change, and it's worked free to John Klingberg with 8.5 minutes left in regulation. Molman shoots it in with help getting it forward. Evander Kane out there with Nugent Hopkins and Kapanen. Panthers lay it off the glass. Kane knocked it down for Kapanen. Shoveled down low. Mikkola looks to protect up the left-hand side. Klingberg, a hard pinch. Luostarinen unable to dig it out. Shot Kane wide of Bobrovsky. Well, I'm not sure saw that all that cleanly. And Brad Marchand with a backhand flip that's right on net. Once again, Florida able to duck out of an icing call and get fresh troops on as we go inside 8 minutes to play. Here's Wallman, has it turned over. Tkachuk dishes, one-timer save. Skinner, rebound, jamming away. And Bennett can't polish off the Oilers again. Couple of good looks for Florida. Sam Bennett with maybe the series on his stick could not finish. And Edmonton still alive, trailing 3-0. Schmidt redirected wide by Rodriguez. Coming over to cut it off is Tkachuk. He got bowled over by Frederick. The two St. Louis natives come together there. It's Adam Henrique to Frederick. Just misfired on a pass intended for Jeff Skinner. And it's a reset for the Florida Panthers with 7:20 left in Edmonton's season. Here's a poke check on Barkov. He's able to nudge it through Darnell Nurse. Skinner will guide it over to Brett Kulak. Crowd screaming, we want the cup. Here's Jeff Skinner. Burst of speed through the middle, cut off by Forsling and Ekblad, who launches one down the middle. Skinner wants icing. It rolls wide. And there's the call. With 7 minutes to play in the third. Edmonton now, once again, Chris Knobloch directing who he wants out there.
I don't think you pull the goalie here yet.
Well, you're going... Yeah, you are pulling the goal.
We're going to pull him.
Because Nugent Hopkins has come on, and that's the extra attacker. So with 7 minutes to go, down 3-0, off an icing call, it's McDavid, Draisaitl, Perry, Nugent Hopkins, Nurse, and Bouchard. Face-off win for Barkov. Ekblad harangued in the corner, kept alive Nugent Hopkins. Draisaitl back to Nurse, does well to hold the zone. Bouchard moves it over to Connor McDavid. Double team, top of the right circle, he'll put it down low. Perry able to screen. Ekblad nudged up the left-hand side. Clear Verhaeghe, the net is empty, and a great play at the line. Panthers come up ice. Barkov whips a pass, wrist shot, score! 4-0 Florida. Hat trick Sam Reinhart. 6:34 to play. Reinhart coming into this game, 3 goals in the series, all in consecutive games, and now a hat trick after scoring the game winner last year in Game 7 late in the second period, has sent hats flying through the air and onto the ice with 6.5 still to play in Game 6 of the Stanley Cup Final. Barkov set him up for the second time in this game. Time of the goal, 13:26. It's an empty netter that's likely the death knell in Edmonton's season. A lot of time left, but now you're down 4. We await the hat cleanup. But it looks like Edmonton, for the second year in a row, will taste defeat at the hands of the Florida Panthers.
How about for the 4th year in a row, losing
to the eventual Stanley Cup champions?
To the eventual Stanley Cup champions.
Skinner returns to the pipes for Edmonton. Jeff Skinner out there with Henrique and Frederick. 6.5 to go. Bennett on the faceoff. Florida team that won the President's Trophy in 2022. Barely got into the playoffs the next year, but then went all the way to the Stanley Cup Final before losing to Vegas in 23. Beat the Oilers in 7 and 24, and now are 6 minutes away from beating Edmonton again in 6 games in this final. Lead pass right-hand side, that's icing against Edmonton with 6:14 remaining. Verhaeghe will pick up his second assist. Florida has set a league record with 9 forwards at more than 15 points in the Stanley Cup playoffs. Only the 80 Islanders, with, of course, Denny Potvin in that mix, had as many as 9 players, regardless of position, with 15-plus points. Off the draw, Edmonton under control. And, Bob, we talked about it. The keys would be to saw off that Florida third line. Edmonton did that. But the other key, I thought, was Edmonton's elite would have to outplay Florida's, and that has not materialized.
And you needed to get out of the first period, not down 2-0. They gave up 2 goals in all 6 first periods of this series.
In the last 4 games, outscored 9-0 in the first period. We got a puck out of play.
Yep.
5:56 to go. Edmonton has outshot Florida 26-22, but that seems immaterial now with a countdown to the Cup in full force here at Amerant Bank Arena. The champions 4, the Edmonton Oilers 0. Game 6 of the Stanley Cup Final wraps up in just a moment on the Oilers Radio Network.
Do your tires feel like hockey pucks on the road? Perhaps it's time for a new set of Atturo tires. No matter what you drive, Atturo has the right fit for you, including the all-new Trail Blade HT and AZ810, premium all-weather tires for your pickup, car, SUV, or crossover. You can rest assured that Atturo tires will get you through all 4 seasons. Available at Action Car and Truck, Point S, and tire shops everywhere. Find a dealer near you at atturo.com.
Northern Lakes College has been providing opportunities to Alberta students for over 50 years. How are they different? Many of their programs are offered online to suit your busy lifestyle, so no need to quit your job or move away from home. Your classroom can be anywhere you want it to be. Attend classes online in real time with your peers or view recorded classes at your own pace. Learn where you live. Learn while you work. It's your choice. Online learning redefined. northernlakescollege.ca.
Athletes know that to advance your career, you've got to be part of a winning team. So, what about you? Are you working for a winning team? Well, here's your chance to do just that. Brandt is a strong and stable industry leader with career opportunities across Canada. We have hundreds of positions available right now, from parts, sales, positioning technology, heavy-duty mechanics, and more. Be a part of a winning team. Earn your stripes by joining Brandt today. Find out more at BrandtJobs.com.
Listen on air.
4-0 Florida. Edmonton not waving the white flag just yet. Plenty of fans are. Skinner is on the bench. Ekholm and Bouchard. And once again, McDavid, Draisaitl, Perry, and Nugent-Hopkins. The puck cleared off the draw back through the middle. Bouchard will shoot it back in. Net empty. Florida 4, Edmonton no score. Ekblad with a giveaway. McDavid will slide it back to Ekholm. Now it's Bouchard. Ekholm up top. Dishes off McDavid. Trying to get around Barkov. Behind the net for Draisaitl. He'll control it. Shovel it off the boards. Ekholm from the left point. Bouchard. He'll trade places. Ekholm sets a pick. Gets it back for McDavid. Shot redirected wide of the Florida net. Now it's Leon Draisaitl on the right half boards. Ekholm steers to Bouchard. High slot. Dishes off McDavid to the net. Blocked. Rebound Barkov off the glass. Reinhart ahead to Ekblad for Hagee. Reinhart for his 4th goal. Shoots and scores. 5-0 Florida. 5:05 to go. Reinhart had been quiet in a 6-1 blowout win. He got a goal and an assist. And since then, he's scored every game, and he's put the Oilers away with a couple of empty netters among his 4 goals tonight. 5-0 Panthers, 5:05 to go, and I imagine at this point, Edmonton will probably just roll the lines. This will be the Oilers' 3rd consecutive defeat in the Stanley Cup Final. 06, 24, and 25. Since their last Stanley Cup in 1990. They played in the most Stanley Cup Finals of any non-Classic 6 team. Passed Philadelphia with a 9th appearance in the final this year. Philadelphia has won just 2 of 8. And the Oilers will see their record in the final drop to 5-4. Here's a drive by Wallman into a deflected puck and shoveled home by Vasily Podkolzin, and it's 5-1 with 4:42 to go. Bobrovsky's shutout bid comes to an end.
Well, but Colson's worked hard all game long. On a night in which Edmonton's big dogs are -4.
He scored the game-tying goal in Game 4 of this series.
He's been fine, but long-range bomber gets through.
Verhaeghe and Ekblad with the assists on the second empty netter for Reinhart, and Podkolzin, as Bob mentioned, on a long shot from a point, ended up picking one up and flipping it home past Bobrovsky. Puck at center, won by Janmark. Klingberg tossed in by Podkolzin. After it is Dmitry Kulikov. He'll turn and wedge it back through the middle. Racing back to collect is Wollman. Chance of We Want the Cup echoing throughout Amerant Bank Arena as the Oilers reload and start up ice. Wollman to Klingberg, hits the line with 4:15 to go. The Panthers are trapped in their own zone, cleared out by Schmidt, right-hand side. Florida hits the red, shoveled in by Rodriguez, and collected once more by Klingberg. At his own blue line, he directs a pass over to Jake Wollman. Right side for Henrique. Touched on to Skinner. Lead pass. Reinhart the other way for the Panthers. Gave it away. Henrique back to Darnell Nurse. 3:45 to play in the season. Nurse shoots it in. Bobrovsky to Ekblad. It's 5-1 Florida. Ekblad in close quarters has to relinquish possession. Barkov to Verhaeghe. Bumped it across ice and swatted the other way by Forsling. Nurse will track it down with less than 3.5 to play. Nurse to Kulak up the middle, stolen by Lundell. Shoots wide, rebound, and Marchand couldn't come up with it. Lundell, who's missed the net twice in this third period, will send it around the boards to Luostarinen on golden chances in front. Luostarinen, he'll just melt some clock behind the Edmonton net, taken off his feet by Kulak. They're letting him play. Henrique up to Jeff Skinner, and he'll bump it past Ekblad, and the puck comes deep into the Florida zone. Ekblad will bide some time. Nugent-Hopkins out there with Kane and Kapanen. Wollman and Draisaitl with the assists on the Podkolzin goal. And again, it was Wollman's shot from up top that ricocheted off a body in front right to Podkolzin, who shoveled it home. Oilers with a puck in their own zone. Soft toss by Bouchard with 2:25 to go. Picked up and gathered by Mikkola. Right-hand side, Ekholm. And now it's center ice. Mikkola will fire it in deep. That's going to be handled by Skinner. Oilers come back into their own zone. It's Bouchard.
One each way here.
And
Kane going after
chasing Tkachuk and gave him an extra slash.
They're both going off. Tkachuk doesn't. He's going off too.
91, 10-minute misconduct.
Well,
I just heard Kane.
Yeah,
I didn't
too.
hear Tkachuk. 2:13 to go in the third period. Draisaitl, by the way, with that point, and assuming this 5-1 score holds up, that'll be Draisaitl's 34th point of the Stanley Cup playoffs. I didn't think he was on the ice. Yeah, and I think they're resetting the scoring. I didn't think he was on the ice either. Of course, the officials for a moment didn't think Sam Reinhart was on the ice. They're saying Draisaitl touched it. Now, he might have dropped it back to Wollman and changed.
Maybe.
It's possible. Off the draw, one by Janmark. The Oilers clear. Darnell Nurse back to center.
That looks like coincidental minors.
Yeah, they did end up making it coincidental. So, again, no power plays awarded in this game. Nurse to Kulak up the right-hand side. Matthias Janmark at his own blue line. Nearly stripped by A.J. Greer. Poke check by Nosek. And now Connor Brown building speed up the gut. Janmark, who scored in Game 7 last year. The only goal in an Edmonton 2-1 loss. Luostarinen pushing free. Lead pass Lundell. Wrist shot. Save made by Stuart Skinner. And now the old chant. And for me, Bob, growing up, listening and watching the snowy station out of London, Ontario, it was the Montreal Canadiens that would do this. Yeah. Here's Skinner. Poke checked away, left circle for Brown, and that puck comes outside the zone. Center ice, minute 15 to go. Florida in a celebratory mood with a 5-1 lead, and we enter the final minute of the season. It's been a great one for the Edmonton Oilers. They won 48 games during the regular season. They settled for the 3rd seed in the Pacific Division. They beat higher-seeded teams on their way to the Stanley Cup final, rallying from 2 games to none down, and then behind in the 3rd period, both games 3 and 4 against LA, rallying to win both in dramatic fashion, and then closing the Kings out in 6. Beat Vegas in 5, avenging a defeat 2 years earlier.
They just waved off the icing.
Yeah, they just waved off icing on a Florida dump-in. And then they beat Dallas after spotting the Stars a 1-game-to-none lead. Beat them in 5. But the dream of a Stanley Cup, the franchise's first in 35 years, will die tonight in Florida. Final 10 seconds. One more Edmonton dump-in. Final score, Florida 5, Edmonton 1, and the Panthers have repeated as Stanley Cup champions. Streamers abound, gloves and sticks strewn all over the ice, and Florida celebrating a championship that's well earned. The Panthers played the Oilers 8 times this year, and in none of those 8 did Edmonton beat Florida in regulation.
No, they didn't.
There was some question last year. Certainly you looked at the goal differential, but this year, Bob,
no doubt about it.
I think you'd have to agree
No
the better team won the Stanley Cup.
Better team won the Stanley Cup.
Florida Panthers 5, and the Edmonton Oilers won in Game 6. The Panthers win the series 4-2.
Not a power play call. We had 1 called last year, 3 total. Knew this was going to happen. You can talk about it being a great year for the Edmonton Oilers.
But they're gutted right now.
They are. And back-to-back years, you lose in 7, you lose in 6. And the sooner we do the post-game show, better.
And this perhaps one of my favorite traditions in all of professional sports, the post-series handshake line. Connor McDavid leads the handshakes for the Edmonton Oilers for the 2nd consecutive year on the losing end of a terrific Stanley Cup final. The first 2 games may have been the greatest that I've ever had the privilege to call live or even see, quite frankly. And then Florida, quite frankly, started to separate itself. Won 3 of the next 4, and the Stanley Cup as a result.